Hello, you're listening to the DTA Wrestling Podcast, available on the go with Spotify, Amazon Music, and Acast. Right. Okay, so there's a couple of things, like we've talked about a bunch of stuff off the podcast before going into it, and there's a couple of things that, as this is our first episode as well, just a couple of things to go over, the kind of things that we'll sort of be doing along the road that we go on these journey week in, week out. So if people are available for it and are game for it, I would like to do it, is do some watch-along commentaries of the live events, pay-per-views as they drop, as they happen on the network and things to watch live. I mean, obviously we can't live stream the show to them because we'll get shut down, killed, or whatever H does, sends his goons after us. But we can watch it and do some kind of commentary for it as well. And yeah, we're mainly just going to be talking about what we're passionate about and what we love, which is the world of professional wrestling and its ups, its downs, its terrible moments, some of its greatest moments. That maybe I've pitched the idea of watching together and kind of like commentating on them not necessarily every week, but every couple of weeks or every once in a blue moon. I found a number of lists which are like the top 10 greatest matches in the world, top 10 of the worst matches in the world, top 10 matches you should watch at least once in your life or twice, or definitely worth seeing, and vice versa and that kind of thing. So I've got a list, I'll go across it here, of what, according to a Reddit list that I saw, the top 10 WWE matches you should watch more than once. Does anyone want to hazard a guess at what could possibly be on this top 10 list? Some of them are blatantly obvious, and some of them are just...
Mania 12, Bret Michaels Iron Man match.
No, it's not on the top 10.
Because these are
WrestleMania
sensible
13,
people.
Austin Bret submission match. Ken Shamrock as the special enforcer. Ref thing.
Austin versus Bret Hart?
Yeah, Mania 13.
Not on the top 10.
I don't care about this list anymore. Everyone talks nonsense. Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect. Got to be there.
Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, not in the top 10.
Yeah. I aren't doing this podcast.
Let's have a sensible. Let's have a sensible one. Taker Michaels. Taker Michaels, Mania 25.
Taker Michaels versus Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. It's not in the top 10.
Michaels Angle. I forgot which Mania.
Michaels Angle, like Kurt Angle? No, not in the top.
Yep.
Not in the top 10.
Or any Kurt Angle matches in it.
A Kurt Angle match is in it. Yes. A Kurt
King of the Ring, Shane Angle.
When he gets thrown through the perspex glass. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Not on the list.
Danny, you've had enough of this list.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. Okay, go on.
Last one, Hell in a Cell, Mankind Undertaker. Got to be on there.
Yes, from King of the Ring in 1998. That is number 5. That's the first wrestling match I ever saw. Like 1998 when it happened. I was 3 years old. But I mean, for my Christmas present or a birthday present, my mum and dad got me a Undertaker anthology, which went from his Survivor Series debut through his major matches all the way up to WrestleMania 20, where he faced Kane in a Buried Alive match, I believe. That I had that, and that was the first match I saw on that DVD was Mankind, Hell in a Cell, and it blew my mind. So that's number 5.
Does any wrestler on the list appear more than once?
Yes.
Which wrestler is it?
Shawn Michaels.
The best wrestler.
Yeah, the greatest of all time. The ultimate GOAT.
No.
Oh, mate. He's definitely up there. He's definitely a Mount Rushmore wrestler. He's definitely a top 4 Mount Rushmore wrestler.
Not for me. Mania 14, Austin Michaels.
Mania 14. No.
you've got to go for that A purely on what it is. It's like Austin winning that belt in his first.
Yeah.
That's what you're going on. Because it's not a great match. Because Michaels is too.
He's knackered and he's done it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. What about Michaels Flair?
Michaels
retirement match.
Michaels Flair WrestleMania 24 is on the list. It is number 8.
Yeah.
That has to be there. Like that's probably the most obvious. Well, second most obvious of Sean's matches, I'd say, to be on this list.
I was going to say, if we're going down this track, then Michaels Triple H SummerSlam 2002, the Street Fight.
The comeback match. Yeah, the comeback match.
Oh,
Raising the brown pants. Yeah,
that's no, not on the list. Oh. I think A clicked onto one of like the most sort of obvious Shawn Michael match. We're in Canada.
Oh.
No.
Number 2.
Why is that the screw job?
Number 2, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart at Survivor Series or SummerSlam, 1997. I think it's
Survivor Series?
Survivor Series, 1997.
Survivor Series. Yeah, no, you can't.
That's number 2.
I don't think. Once you've seen it,
it's the moment, isn't it? It's what it represents. Yeah. It's not. It's
I didn't make the list. I'm just telling you what's on there.
Oh no!
I just want to put that out there. I'm not doing this podcast. Oh, excuse me. I did not compile this list myself.
What about Vince McMahon versus Hulk Hogan?
No, it's not. Where he just gets.
Where goes that?
He just gets
fucking mint match.
Battered.
The blood on the face. Yes.
Yeah, mint match.
Takes that chair shot flat. There's nothing in it. You just.
It's ace.
It is ace. It's not that.
The
Reddit post listed like 110 matches and went down to like these 10 as well.
Shit, they're bad.
So.
They are all WWE.
They are all WWE.
Hogan Warrior 6.
Hogan Warrior.
Yeah, gotta be.
No, not in.
Silly list. This is
not in the top.
Silly
10.
list.
So we've had Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair. That was number 8. Undertaker versus Mankind, number 5. Shawn versus Bret at number 2.
What's more iconic than Shawn Bret apart from Hell in a Cell?
Oh, I would say this is very much more iconic.
Austin Rock at one of the Manias, 17.
Nope. You're on the right track, though.
With which wrestler?
Rock.
Rock Cena?
No, God, no. Not Rock. Rock Cena.
Two. Not the first one. 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once in a lifetime. Again.
Twice. Again. Rock. Is it the Rock? Is it Rock? Austin Owen. SummerSlam.
No.
No, it's not SummerSlam.
Where's the Rock in that?
No, it just popped in my head because obviously Austin gets injured.
No. There's number 10. I don't know if it's a curveball. I've not watched this particular match. It's very, very old. I went on a stream of watching like the openers to every WrestleMania. I remember messaging you about that, Ed. Like I went on a run of watching the opening matches, just because like the theory is the opening card is just as important as the main event, because you obviously have to start the main event, the opening, the mid card, and the main event are the 3 most important matches in any pay-per-view, like the main mid card match, because you have to bring the audience in, then you got to keep them there, and then you've got to send them home. So this wasn't in one of those matches, just to say. So I've not actually personally seen this match, but it is from a very, very iconic WrestleMania, and this is number 10.
It isn't Steamboat Macho, is it?
It is. It's Ricky Steamboat versus Macho Man.
That's number 10.
That's number 10 of WrestleMania.
For Mania 3.
WrestleMania 3, yeah. So we've got the kind of the mid ground. Some of these, I think, I don't know what the person writing this list was. Well, to be fair, I know who wrote the list. I was trying not to say who wrote it. It's Cultaholic. So you can take their opinion with a pinch of salt or whatever you want to be, but it's Cultaholic that wrote this list.
Okay. Who was the writer? Was it the whole team, or which writer?
I'm not entirely. It's the guy who does the main voices for the videos who was reading them off. I don't know if it was like a collaborative thing.
Yeah.
But if that gives you a little bit more, so number 10, number 8, number 5, number 2. I'll rattle off a couple more of these as well. Number 9 is the 6-man Hell in a Cell from Armageddon 2000. So I can't remember for the life of me.
Is that the angle one where Rikishi does the bump?
Rikishi
off the
hay
top
truck.
Yeah, Taker pushes him, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's the main spot.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't try that match, but okay.
I'll do some pay-per-views and see if that Backlash 2004 for number 7.
Randy Orton, Mick Foley.
Bang on. Randy Orton, Mick Foley 2004. Proper hardcore match that.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, considered to be the worst Royal Rumble, but number 6 is from Royal Rumble 2015. Like from the whole pay-per-view.
Yes, what was on that pay-per-view?
It's a very, very big, very, very big triple threat.
Is it the Rollins, Lesnar, there's Rollins, Lesnar, and is it Cena?
It is Cena, yeah. Rollins, Brock Lesnar, and John Cena at Royal Rumble 15. Then we have...
I can't even remember that match.
Undertaker versus Mankind, King of the Ring. Number 4, Brock Lesnar is back again.
Cena?
No. We're going
Randy?
2003. This is
Angle.
Yeah, this is what I think. This is the one where he nearly dies.
Yeah,
I think that's why it has a rewatch, is to watch him do his moonsault.
It's a good match, though. It's a good match, though.
Yeah, big Iron Man match, isn't it?
No, it's a normal match, isn't it, Danich?
They did have an Iron Man match, but which one have they got down?
SmackDown?
SmackDown, September 18th, 2003.
That's the Iron Man.
That's the Iron Man, yeah.
That is where he does his moonsault and nearly...
No.
It's not.
No, that's Mania.
Mania's where he nearly breaks his neck. Oh, damn.
Yeah. That one's Mania.
Next one, Raw 2001.
Jericho winning the belt off Triple H.
No, it's 2-man...
And then not winning it.
2-man power trip.
Austin and H
versus Jericho, and I've put redacted.
It's the quad, isn't it? It's the quad.
Yeah.
And the last one and then Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart at Survivor Series 1997, and then number 1, you still haven't found. Still in the same vein of it's The Rock.
Is it the Mankind I Quit?
Nope.
That was the only other one I could think of. I Quit.
Yeah, The Rock.
I don't know whether
you
might kick yourself for it.
Oh, it's Mania 18. Rock Hogan.
Yeah, shout.
Yeah.
Rock versus Hogan. Is that a considerable way to have it number 1? I know it probably wouldn't personally be your number 1. I'm not going to say we're going to do our own top 10 of the greatest matches that have ever existed. I would put in this list, though. I think it's highly underrated and incredible. CM Punk versus Jericho at WrestleMania is a fantastic match for the belt, where CM Punk is not allowed to be disqualified and gets handcuffed to the turnbuckle. That is a fantastic match. That is incredible.
But would you put that over the John Cena and Chicago match?
Oh, they give each other so much in that match. They give each...
Yeah.
They put each other...
I think that match is a better match. Because he leaves
also,
it's because the iconic kiss.
I was going to say it's got the better kind of moments attached.
Yeah. But it's the greatest... It's the best in the world versus the best in the world at what I do, and the build-up to that is real. I mean, Cena's build-up with Punk's great as well, because they're both good on the mic. Jericho's half and half on the mic. Sometimes he's really good, sometimes he's really bad, and he's not particularly good on the stick against Punk. I mean, I'm a big mark for Punk. I'm not going to hide that.
Could you say...
Someone's got me.
Could you say with that it's an underrated match?
I'd say it's
the Jericho Punk one. Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that, because it wouldn't initially spring to my mind. I've seen it, but I wouldn't go, oh yeah. But now you're saying all that, I'm like, actually, that was probably better than what I first thought.
Mm.
I think there's a lot of matches. It's the comparison between some of, especially like great wrestlers like that. They just get like Punk versus Del Rio, for example, is awful, but that's because of Del Rio, really, more than anything. Alberto Del Rio is just a knob for more reasons than one.
They should have clicked then, shouldn't they? Both of them should have been dead.
But the thing is, right? Okay, I've got a funny feeling when this takes us into our hot takes that there's going to be if it's what I think. If brother, I did put a thing in. I don't know whether or not you saw it or not, but the another thing we're gonna do, like, are kind of a Mount Rushmore, but more sort of the 4 pillars. You know, the kind of the people that hold up this particular thing in its entirety. And I chose the 4 pillars of, because it's kind of very hot at the moment, the Intercontinental Championship.
Okay.
So who would you consider? So my 4, I'll just rattle them off and we'll go. And so my 4 for the 4 pillars is Gunther. I think what he's done with the title has been fantastic. Chris Jericho, Razor Ramon, and The Miz.
Okay, I mean that's definitely a take.
That's my take. That's my 4 pillars, I think, of the Intercontinental Champion.
I can see the logic. I can see why some of them are being picked.
So, Danich, what would your 4 be? So, when you think of the Intercontinental Championship, who are the 4 wrestlers that you immediately think of?
Wow. Okay. So yeah, I would have to say now Gunther, because I think he's, like you say, he's elevated it. He's made it relevant again and things like that.
I agree.
For me as well, I see Shawn Michaels. You know, he had some good runs with that belt. Again, for more of a moment, Warrior as a kid, that SummerSlam when Honky Tonk said, "I'll take on anyone." No, come on, Aid. I can see your head in your hands. Warrior for me was a great IC champion. He had 2 runs with it, but they were both really good runs.
Yeah, again, it's your pick. It's not mine. It's your pick.
So that's 3. So
Yeah.
you've got Gunther, Shawn Michaels, Ultimate Warrior.
And I would also say as well, like Jericho, because of just purely how many times when that belt was sinking, it was like Vince was like, "Get Y2J on that belt, and we'll bring it back up." And that's that he's got to go on there.
All right, go on then, Ed.
Gunther,
nice. We're all in agreement for once.
Macho Man.
Okay.
Macho Man was great as an IC champ.
Yeah.
She's gone quiet. Yes, he knows. Honky Tonk Man, just purely because of the legacy. Like, you will always think of Honky Tonk Man and Gunther. You'll always think of it. He isn't. I don't think he's the best. I don't think he's the best IC champ, but he is synonymous with that belt.
Yeah.
He just is.
Yeah.
And then my fourth. I don't like saying this, but Cody, because he brought back the old IC belt when he won it in 2000.
The one Warrior had.
So your choice for Cody is purely because when he won it, wasn't how he ran it, wasn't the way he defended it. It was that he's made that look pretty again. I'm backing him.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because again, it's a moment that for me, I won't forget. It's like I'll always remember Honky as the longest reigning champ. Don't ask me all the people he fought. I don't know. I know he lost it to Warrior. That's all I know. Gunther, undefeated. He's actually defeated once, but
count out. Yeah.
He was phenomenal. He was phenomenal as Walter all around the world. He's come in and they've just got him. He's perfect. He's brought prestige back to the IC belt, which, let's be fair, was languishing. It really was. Macho Man, because Macho had it, and then you just knew that it was building up to the mega powers, and it was building up to Hogan at some point. But you've got to give him the belt. You've got to give him a belt because he was that good, and he was a good wrestler.
One Macho the first one as well, that when he had the IC belt, he started bad mouthing like the main eventers, like saying I could beat Hogan for this belt, I could beat whoever's in that main event slot. So he was the first one who kind of made that connection between if you're the IC champ, you're going to move up the card. Yeah, you're going to move up that card.
You'll start making the belt worth something, worth
more,
people's time.
Yeah.
Wasn't just a mid-card belt, which to be like. For Razor Ramon for picking it is that the
Mania 10.
And the feud with him and Shawn and the ladder matches and all that kind of stuff, and like the 2 belt match where Shawn never lost it and then came back in to say that I deserve this, came back in with the belt, and Razor Ramon was like, well, no, but they didn't they weren't at horns for it. Razor Ramon came in and said, "No, you're right. You didn't. Let's settle it." And it was like a kind of like a battle for 2 belts that didn't necessarily have a heel. I mean, Michaels was probably the hot heel at the time for it.
Yeah,
but like it didn't feel like that kind of match. And Razor won, and I think gave us a really, really good moment. Obviously, gives us the iconic
holding the 2 belts.
The holding the 2 belts at the top of it, which is like incredible to sort of see with a quote unquote low tier belt. It's not. If you're wrestling in WWE and you're an American, for example, if it's the IC belt, the United States belt, World Heavyweight, WWE Championship, it's in that kind of list of things you want to win in a certain order. So for him to hold 2 of these belts and elevate them, not at a main event, but what possibly could have been for the pay-per-view, and for Shawn's iconic splash that's from that, it's not very high up, and the way it's shot makes it look like he's jumped very, very high, is iconic. But in the same vein of why I chose Miz was because I think Miz was the best choice in that time frame to hold a belt that was dwindling across 2 brands. The way he ran that belt, he ran it with such kind of ferocity about it, and that he was a champion despite being quote unquote the IC champion. He was a champion and was cocky and arrogant and just played it really, really well. And obviously what we've said for Chris Jericho saved the IC belt.
And with that, I'm quite surprised that none of us mentioned the first IC champ, Pat Patterson, because he was the first IC champ, wasn't he? And then you obviously move over to people like Roddy Piper won it, Brett had it, Bulldog had it. Perfect, yeah, Mr. Perfect had it. He's one of my favourites of all time. Unfortunately, Jeff Jarrett had it. But Goldust's run with the gold IC belt, Goldust was great as that champ. Owen, Rock had it.
Triple H.
Rocky maybe you wanted, Triple H I think.
Kofi's Kofi had it. Who else had it? Finn Balor had it. Dean Ambrose had it. Gunther had it.
Seth Rollins. CM Punk.
Rey Mysterio. What's this? Raw co-general manager Stone Cold Steve Austin reactivated the Intercontinental Championship. Okay.
It was vacated at some point.
Triple H defeated Kane to unify the Intercontinental Championship into the World Heavyweight.
I was going to say that was when they tried to get rid of it, didn't they? Do you remember they had that massive call on Raw where they just amalgamated all the belts and it was really bad?
RVD's had it. AJ Styles is... Oh, did he win it yet? AJ Styles has had it?
Yeah. Yeah.
The Intercontinental was declared vacant after champion Sami Zayn elected to refrain from competing during the COVID pandemic. A tournament to crown the new champion was set.
Yes, the COVID era.
Yeah.
And you did another Razor Ramon Shawn Michaels, because when Zayn came back, he still had his copy, and they had a unification match.
And Zayn won it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell? Okay, so I'm looking at this tournament. So the first round consisted of Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak, Jeff Hardy versus
That'd have been a good match.
Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus,
Mm.
Elias versus King Corbin, AJ Styles versus Nakamura.
Oh, I bet there was some bollock hitting in that match.
Yeah.
There was some low blows in that match. Always
It
is.
went on to Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus, which Daniel Bryan won.
Yeah.
Then went on to AJ Styles, which it just says above it by.
Nakamura.
Yeah, so
So Elias and Corbin, something must have happened there. So AJ Styles just
double DQ or something like that.
So
Yeah.
AJ just advanced, and then it just was
Yes.
Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, where AJ Styles won after I think a 37-minute match. It was
That'd have been a good match.
that would have been a very good match.
That is peak as well, pandemic era, where they're like, we've got no audience, so we can just do what we want. So we can have like an hour-long match between these two.
10 years ago, when I think this is when Kofi won it. Yeah, so Kofi Kingston won a tournament. Kofi versus Dolph, and Christian versus Cody Rhodes. And it was Kofi versus Christian in the final. Surprising
See-
for 2010 WWE Creative to choose Kofi over Christian. But that's
And I was going to say as well, don't forget that IC belt has had some really low points. Watching Raw in the late 1990s, you had the likes of, and this into slight on them, but they had like week-long reigns, like Godfather, Road Dogg, people like that. Yeah, it was just changing hands every week. That belt has been like really low. Never forget that it's saying it's the workhorse title. It really took a knocking in the late 90s, early 2000s.
I feel like
We had China.
oh
We had
Shit,
China the champ, didn't we?
2-time, I think, China.
I've just got a
God,
list
yeah,
up, actually. Yeah. Yeah, she is, because Chris
Yeah.
Jericho and China. Yeah.
The co-champions, yeah.
absolute machine. The absolute machine. China.
Which is one of the worst in my head. I've never watched it again, but I remember Royal Rumble 2000. There's a triple threat between China, Jericho, and Hardcore Holly, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. It's one of the worst matches I've ever seen.
I wouldn't wish getting into the ring with Hardcore Holly on anybody.
No.
Yeah,
One of the stiffest wrestlers that they've ever been has been Hardcore Holly. More so than Braun. More so than, to talk about what happened last Monday, Nia Jax.
Danich's woman. He loves it.
I love Nia Jax.
You lie.
Yeah.
You lie.
He doesn't. No, seriously.
You
he
love
loves it.
I have never seen I mean, there's a few videos on it, but I've never seen somebody return to nothing, to no noise whatsoever. She wasn't hidden. I mean, it's not like she wasn't hidden in any way. She wasn't wearing a hoodie that they seem to be going for nowadays, which is anyone that's returning or interfering, slap a black hoodie on
Has
them.
to have a hoodie,
No
yeah,
one will know
has to
who
have a
they
hoodie.
are. She came out in ring attire and attacked Rhea Ripley, and it was so bad.
There's plenty of noise in my house. I was more than happy to see her back. More than happy.
She is garbage. And I put a tweet out that said, like, I reckon the only reason they brought Nia Jax back was so Randy Orton could return to RKO her. That's the only reason. Because that, like, I was watching, because Fastlane's coming up. Stupidly again, and Fastlane's only existed since 2019, 2018, something like that. But we didn't get a 2021 Fastlane, and we didn't get a 2020 Fastlane, or we didn't get a 22 Fastlane, we didn't get a 2020 Fastlane. So it's not a consistent pay-per-view. But the last one that they did was during the COVID era, and fucking Randy Orton. It's Randy Orton versus Alexa Bliss.
Yes, it is.
Oh yes,
As a lineup.
yes, with
is.
the Burned Fiend.
And the
yeah.
Fiend comes
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
And
the
it's like-
Burned Fiend.
And I said Randy Orton's career has been the Lady Killer, the Legend Killer, the quote unquote the Predator, the Viper, and then the Woman Beater. That's all. He's gone back to being a lady killer, but the more actual representation of those two words. He doesn't hold back, and I love, not say I love Randy for doing that, but I love that Randy doesn't give a crap, because I'm fed up of all of this Rhea Ripley like egging people on and like trying to egg someone to hit her, and everyone being like, no, I'm not it's Rhea Ripley, smack her in the face. Like, she can take it. She's dealt out enough punishment that someone eventually has got to slap, like, gotta hit back.
If it was the Attitude Era, Rhea Ripley would be taking stunners, rock bottoms, mandible claws every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that
Yeah,
vein,
You know,
Lita is tougher than Rhea Ripley.
yeah, can't argue with that.
Yeah.
If we're going off that vein of, like, if it was in the Attitude Era,
Yeah.
Lita took a mandible claw wrapped in barbed wire from Mick Foley during WrestleMania 22. One of my favourite Edge matches ever is that hardcore match with the flaming table. One of my favourite matches of all time. And she takes a mandible claw from Mr. Socko wrapped in barbed wire. She does moonsaults and nearly breaks her neck. Are you shaking your head at me for?
Mr. fucking Socko. I fucking hate Mr. Socko. Mr. Socko, more like. I hate Mr. Socko.
Have you got a problem with, like, Cobra?
No, none whatsoever. None whatsoever. Because it is what it is. It's a funny thing. Putting a sock on someone and then oh no, I don't know.
One of the best moments is the Cobra getting put on, and the two flutes, like the two snake charmers, Jinder Mahal and Great Khali, either side, and one turns him good and one turns him evil. That's brilliant.
It's what we don't get anymore. We don't get this kind of, like, some for the good and some
silliness.
For the worst. We just don't get it anymore.
Silliness.
Oh,
Just a bit of silliness that you haven't got.
We don't get it, and it's like, I think that's what they're trying to. It's, how was it described to me by somebody? I heard somebody describe it this way. It might have been a wrestler who said it, but it's soap operas and spandex wrestling. It's just supposed to be fucking silly and over the top and ridiculous, and they're trying to get. I don't mind silliness if it's not cringy, but it's just so. At the moment, the WWE in particular is just so cringy to watch because they're trying so hard to be super serious. Whatever Jimmy and Jay keep doing with this whole sort of like side to side kind of thing where they're kind of like mad dogging somebody in the ring and it just doesn't hit. There's no.
It's because they're not scary.
Nah, that's true. There's no fun anymore. There's no funny gimmick. Like.
Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, but even I think that's grown a bit stale now. The hands in the
A lot stale.
When the hands in the pockets first came about, that was fun. That was really interesting to see. Like the soft kicks, and he'd win matches with his hands in his pockets. Now he puts them in for one little mini spot, and that's it. And it's like, okay, Orange.
But isn't that also because they're trying to make Orange Cassidy now more of a serious, like, legit wrestler? Yeah.
Blood
and
Orange.
It's hard because, like you said, you're doing the soft kicks, but then you're also in a hardcore match. And I'm contradicting what you've just said now, but there's got to be a place for the seriousness and the silliness, and they can't really mix too much. And that's just my feeling on that.
Yeah. But it's. I think if the character's innately silly, they should look for the angles that make it not dull anymore. You know, like
yes.
For example, The Rock is a silly character. He's very good and he's very, very silly. He does his impressions. He does his eyebrow raise. Excuse me, he does his it doesn't matter interruption. It's a silly, at its core, a silly character. But it doesn't get stale at all because the silliness is fresh with something new. Like when he's attacking somebody new, it's the same vein of silliness, but it's something new at the same way.
Yeah.
When he does his impressions of Triple H, which I think is the funniest thing he's ever done, it's incredible. But you're laughing with him and you're getting it. Even, I think because I've seen a seminar with him lately. I don't know I'd love to hear people's opinions on a good idea or not a good idea. This would be a good segment. Eugene. Is that a good creative idea or a bad creative idea?
It was a bad creative idea made good by Nick Dinsmore, the character, the wrestler.
It was Nick Dinsmore's seminar, and it was phenomenal. He was at, I think, World of Wrestling or whatever I don't know what the company, WOW. And he was giving a seminar
World
there
Wrestling.
and was watching it, and he is so in tune with everything. He worked at NXT afterwards. He'd finished with the Eugene character. He worked at NXT. He worked in the Performance Center developing talent afterwards, and he knows his shit. And it's just you is Eugene a better character than some on the main roster today?
Your character work?
Yeah, I think back to there's two ways of looking at this, and one is like the old Dusty Rhodes things of like you're wearing these polka dots, and some people go, "This is awful. I'm not doing it. It makes me look stupid." And then you got Dusty's thing where actually I'm going to be the best person who's ever worn polka dots. And I think it's up to you to go, right, I've been given this thing and I think it's ridiculous, but what could I do that an audience would go, you know what, we like that person, and that's our kind of person. And I think you're right there with Eugene. That's what he did, because a lot of people have said, no way am I doing this. This is ridiculous. It's not going to get past the opening match. But if you can get it over, if you can think of little angles to put on it or little like traits in there for yourself, it works. But then on the flip side of that, you hear people like Austin saying, you've got to imagine them announcing your gimmick and your persona as the world champion. And if you can't imagine that, then you know you're onto a loser. So I'm kind of like torn in between those two opinions.
Yeah, if you're pitching your character to be Eugene, you're a jobber, like for the whole for your career.
Eugene isn't winning the world title. So
no, but to be fair, the same was said about Foley for a long time.
Yes,
same was said
absolutely.
But obviously, completely contrasting black and white characters, entirely different. Mick Foley, Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, could be a champion. And the way he wins it, it's because of Austin, the way he wins it. But yeah, I completely agree with what you pitch to them will set you up. But I think everyone doesn't want to pitch themselves as a jobber in WWE today. Obviously, because you want to be champion, you want to make money, you want to earn as much, you want to sell t-shirts, you want to sell cups, whatever it is. You don't want to be a jobber. And there's no... Grayson Waller, I guess, is kind of, but he doesn't wrestle. He doesn't really do anything. He gets hit or bumped when he has people on the Grayson Waller effect every week, and it's boring, which I think is why John Cena didn't say anything this week, because he's just like, I don't buy into it. And there's just no, like, we haven't got the boogeyman. Where's the boogeyman? Where's Finley?
He'll come back at Rumble.
Where's like, MVP's disappeared again. He came back and now his job's just been taken over by the Almighty. Like, what?
He's morphed into MVP.
He has. That's all he's done. He's just become the next manager. There's nothing else to... Bobby Lashley hasn't done anything. Bobby Lashley used to be such a... Bobby Lashley and Umaga, that was like a force to be reckoned with. The hair versus hair match, silly. Stupid Donald Trump versus Vince McMahon at WrestleMania. Stupid. But Bobby Lashley versus Umaga was the match. Bobby Lashley, the first man to break the master lock and all this kind of... And now he comes out in a suit and shades, and that's literally it. He doesn't do.
He looks cool though.
And he does look. He looks swanky.
Oh, he looks cool.
He looks
Yeah.
very fucking good. I don't know if it's now a creative choice because he's gotten on a bit, and now we're sort of like letting him just reside into a background role. But it's incredible.
I don't know. I think sometimes for certain people, it's looking for an opening because Bobby Lashley, like you say, is so big, is so kind of like much of a main event player that if there's nothing, I'd sooner Bobby Lashley do his little managing thing every week than be in the opening match.
Yeah.
So at the minute, the main event seems too full for him. You keep on doing your managing thing, and when the opening comes, you'll be back up the top of that card. And I think that's the logic behind him.
He seems to be putting his fingers in a lot of pies for the Street Profits currently. He had them come out.
Suit Profits.
Suit Profits. Yeah, that's
Suit
the
Profits.
it's like My Fair Lady with these two. He's picked up these two retrograde frat boys and have gone, Kingsman, I'm going to take you here and we're going to get you a suit, and then you're going to come out and look the part. And he's had them taunt the Judgment Day, which is going to be going for the tag titles, which I don't think they've got enough cred to win currently, but maybe down the line I could see them being champs. And then he's had them come out on SmackDown this week against the LWO. And it's like, okay, why have you got beef with the LW? Is it Lashley having beef with Ray? Is Lashley going for the US title?
Just a random match.
Could it be as well that old thing of they used to do this years ago, and I don't think they've done it for a while. New people, I know Street Profits aren't new, but you're giving them a new gimmick and a new attitude and everything. And they would years ago do that thing of saying, "Is this person face or are they heel?" And they'd attack face and heel until they have like a definitive feud where you go, "All right, you're a good guy or you're a bad guy."
Which got the best received pop from it, and then would build off the character that way.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah, because the LWO
That's
inherently
more to see what they're
faces. Yeah, the LWO inherently faces, and then the Judgment Day obviously are the biggest heels at the moment that have successfully working.
And I think that's what it is. We're just seeing what do the crowd want of these people. Now we've put them in suits and everything. Are they going along with them as faces, or do they see them as heels? Personally, I'd love to see it like a heel Street Profits, I would, but I don't think the crowd are ready for it yet. I think they want to keep them as faces for a bit longer.
Yeah, I'm not in for the Street Profits.
No, I haven't seen enough of them as of yet to make when they were faces and they were on their own and they were like fun and coming out in that. Yeah, when they did the Raw 30 with the Street Profits and Seth versus Imperium, like that was a fairly good match because DX were too old to do it. But that was quite good.
Yeah. Can I just say as well? I'm sure this isn't a hot take or anything like that. Montez Ford will be a main eventer within the next 4 or 5 years. He's easily got everything they want.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's
100%.
Yeah. I don't see that.
He is the Shawn Michaels of that team.
Yeah, and they've already begun it because wasn't he the person who went out onto the merger this week? Wasn't he in all the photos, Montez Ford and Bianca?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're pushing him super hard.
Yeah.
Well, they're married, aren't they? Bianca and
Montez
are married.
Yeah.
And you could argue it was Bianca. It was about Bianca, but he was there, and he's getting that exposure.
Yeah.
He's getting the rub in. He's still getting that rub.
Speaking of heel turn. Bad creative. Last Raw, there's been like issues with Riddle, McIntyre, and the New Day.
Yep.
And they had possibly the worst angle I've ever seen for Drew facing Christ, what's his name?
Yeah.
Xavier Woods.
Oh yeah.
Oh, was this the backstage segment you're going to
Yeah,
say?
the backstage thing was the
Yeah.
worst thing I've ever seen. Was to go, oh, I know what it is. It's jealousy because Kofi won his world championship in front of people, and you won it in front of nobody. And he's like, say that again, I'll take you out into the ring. And it's like, why are you beefing with Xavier Woods over the most trivial things? And it's so stupid.
Because it's true.
But it doesn't matter. Why does
But it does matter to Drew. It's always mattered to Drew.
Has
so
it?
when Drew won it, yeah. So when Drew won the belt, he won it obviously in the COVID era, and he was a good champ to carry that company. But the next year when they were open, everybody thought, right, it's Drew's moment, and he never got that, and he's always said it.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. But for the people to attack him for it, I would not have chosen Xavier. I wouldn't have chosen Kofi Mania. I wouldn't have chosen that kind of standpoint to do it. If I was writing that, I'd have Finn come backstage and be like, "You seem to have a lot of issues with people. Oh, is it because you didn't win? You won your championship in front. Like I may have only held it for like 24 hours, but I still at least won it in front of people. And you're coming out and you won it in front of nobody behind closed doors in the performance center." And then didn't even actually have a good run with it. I mean, you kind
Are
of
they
losing your.
Are they teasing? Are they teasing? Yeah, exactly. Are they teasing Drew to go back to the Scottish psychopath?
I don't know, maybe.
Drew is 100% turning heel, but
Yeah, 100%.
But are they going, like you said there, Aid, are they going to go down that angle of he turns on the people for saying, you weren't there? I know we couldn't be there because it was COVID, but that thing of like, you've never cared that I didn't win the belt in front of you, or you've never really been vocal about me getting another chance.
I think they will.
I just felt the angle was so. I mean, I guess because everyone else might have been busy who could have possibly have thrown the shade against Drew, but I wouldn't have chosen Xavier Woods to.
No, I wouldn't. No, I think what they'll do is they'll do what Dan Itchy said. They'll go, and you just said, "Oh, we'll blame you weren't there for me, fans. You weren't there for me. Never give me a chance." And what they'll do is they'll gloss over Clash at the Castle, because obviously he did get his chance, and it was great. But yeah,
I was just going to say that was a massive
one. Because you went that, didn't you, Dan? You were actually there in attendance for Clash.
Yeah, the crowd was so pro Drew McIntyre all night. They brought back Broken Dreams. It was like such a massive thing for Drew. But yeah, they obviously didn't give him the belt.
But I think they'll gloss over that bit. And then I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to we'll forget that. It wasn't in America. Don't count.
Yeah.
Like most things that it used to do.
Or they'll write it up.
Part of being a heel is you tell a lie or two.
Yeah.
So you kind of go,
in the ring or on a podcast. If you're Punk.
Yeah.
It's anywhere.
I love him. On the vein of Punk, and let's move.
He's got loads of time on his hands, hasn't he?
Let's do our hot takes for the week. So this is the thing we're going to do each week, where we're going to have a sort of a subject matter that either one of us will suggest, and we'll take our hot take for it. So for the first one, the hot take I decided for us to do was a culturally loved wrestler that we personally ourselves don't understand the hype, that we don't understand why these people are so well revered in the limelight, and then we'll discuss them. I'm not going first for this because I've gone first.
Why?
Because I've gone first on other things as well.
Go on, Danich. I'll let you go first, mate.
Danich,
who's your revered person?
Right. I'm sorry because I know this is the first one we've done, but it'll be the last because no one will ever listen to this now, and anybody who ever liked wrestling
will lose it.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I can hear the groaning already. Bret Hart. I've never, ever got Bret Hart. I get that he's...
Good night, everybody.
I'm not denying. Yeah. I think it's a combination of everything. It was the time when I was getting a little bit older, straight after Hulk Hogan. So I am brought up on Vince McMahon's philosophies, his way of doing wrestling. And to me, Bret Hart never fit those. And I'm looking, like this week when I've been doing a bit of research, his title runs were never anything to write home about. The defenses are okay on pay-per-views, but in all them title runs, the biggest moment he gets is losing it at Montreal, which is nothing to do with him. It kind of puts the shine onto Shawn and Vince. And, you know, for all the things... And I just want to say, and Aid will say, no, you don't. I like Brett as a person. I find him interesting when he's talking as himself and things like that.
You don't! No, you don't. You keep saying he's a crying bastard. He's crying again.
He's very bitter, but that's...
Yeah, bitter old man.
Yeah. So... He is bitter, but at the same time, it's almost like he treats wrestling too real. You know, we were talking just about it should have a bit of fun, and it should, and yeah, I will expand on it as we talk more. But mine is Bret Hart, and I think, yeah, as I say, it's a combination of things. It was when I was getting older and I was starting to kind of lose a bit of interest in wrestling.
Jesus.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm not going to say I'm completely in the same boat as you. However, I think Owen Hart is the better brother. That's not my hot take for this, but in terms of talking about Bret, I put I don't know, just yeah. For a first hot take, it's a very, very strong opinion, and I'm sure there's probably people out there that do agree. But do you have a turning point moment where you went, Bret, this is you?
Don't you dare!
Where you just go, Bret, what people
right.
Bret Mania's going, and you're just like, you know what, I'm not feeling it, Bret. Really, you try it.
I think it was just from, you know, when he first won the belt in '92, you'd had that year, you'd had Hogan being the champion, Undertaker and Flair, like they were the preceding three champions, Macho Man. And I just, when it went on to Bret, I was like, you're a tag guy though. I see, yeah, tag, but you shouldn't be having that world belt. Like, it just felt wrong. And then, and I'm not just saying this, Aid, when Hogan won it at Mania in Hine, I was kind of like, as an adult I can say that, but like, you know, 10-year-old me, I was like, all is well in the world. The Hulkster's got his belt back again. We're okay. So, yeah, I never got on the train for him. Yeah, Hulk was posing. I was happy, you know, and then I never thought... I can remember buying the WWF magazine for SummerSlam, and it was Hogan against Bret, and everything. You know, we know now that's what the plan was, and Hogan was going to put Bret over. And I think that's part of it, blaming Hulk. No, it's part of it that Hulk never... If Hulk, I think, would have done the job for Bret, I could have gone, well, he beat Hulk Hogan. That's okay. You know, he beat my guy, so he must be all right. But it was that never materialised, so I just couldn't see Bret on the same level as like Hulk Hogan or those people I got into wrestling under. So, yeah, I just never went along with him. I think some of his matches are great. But yeah, I'm with you. Owen's the better brother. Owen's the better entertainer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's before the sourpuss gets any more sour. Do you have before we sit here? Do you have a counterance to that? Hey, like, do you have like a kind of what are you talking about? Like, I don't want to get this into like into like, you know, like children on the playground fighting in the corner, but just a rebuttal against. I don't know if he's your boy, if Bret's your boy, but like.
No, all valid points and are noted by Matthew Danich.
You surely, Aid, it's like your counter argument is it's Bret Hart. It's, you know, you can't say anything bad against Bret Hart.
Nope. Just that's your opinion, my friend, and you are welcome to it. It's an opinion, and it was a very well thought out argument, and very I'll take it under advisement.
See it in your yearly review. Okay then, go on, dude. What's your
Hulk Hogan?
Take? Hulk? Okay. Wow. Okay, it's okay. We've lost another 50% of the audience. Well, 33 and 33. I think my final 33 might finish them off, but you never know. But go on. Okay, Hulk Hogan. Why? Why
Because he's Danich's favourite wrestler.
is that literally the reason why? You're literally...
That's literally the reason why, yeah. That's how petty I am.
No, I know what you're.
What's
you know,
no?
I've spoken to you outside of here.
What's your hot take?
No.
Don't be coming at me with Hulk Hogan.
Mick Foley.
Oh,
And that's legitimate. And
okay.
Danich will know. Danich knows that I've never been a big Foley fan. I just haven't. Flair was right. Glorified stuntman.
Okay.
That's it. I don't like his matches. He's famous for getting thrown off a cage
Yeah.
and having his tooth through his face.
Cemented his career, yeah.
He couldn't get over as one wrestler, so he had to be another wrestler. Couldn't get over as that, so he had to be another one. And then he was Mrs. Foley's baby boy. I just don't get everything. I don't get him. He's just, as Vader would say, a fat piece of shit. I just don't like him. I just don't get it. I don't get Mick Foley. I don't get why he's so revered. Yes, as Cactus Jack and ECW and before that, I get it. I kind of do. But again, he's just a hardcore stuntman. When was the last time you watched Mick Foley and go, oh, he's a really good technical wrestler? I know he hadn't supposed to be, but when was the last time he said, oh, he had a really good wrestling match?
I wouldn't say...
What? Go on. A wrestling match where Mick Foley did some really good wrestling moves, apart from go through a fiery table.
What is that? But okay. Depends if no. Okay. I'm not disagreeing with you, and I'm not agreeing with you entirely on that. But like, Mick Foley, as a wrestler for the art, not the sport. Mick Foley as a wrestler for the art is incredible. If you think about what, in terms of storytelling and things like that he does through it, yeah, they're hardcore stunt matches. They're him just getting blood and him just getting beaten up and whatever it needs to be. But the story that he tells with that, like you take the throw off the ring, the King of the Ring. You take that match for example. Okay, he comes out as Mankind, and he climbs to the top before the Undertaker even comes out. He's on top of the cell. Okay, and Undertaker then has to come out and has no choice but to go up. And Taker's said he's terrified. That's why Taker's never in ladder matches. He's never in steel cage matches. He's never in Money in the Banks because he's scared of heights. He's terrified of heights, Taker. And he goes up and he doesn't get over. He gets taken advantage of and Foley drags him and he gets one reversal to then throw him off, which is a huge moment and everyone loses their mind. As you said, he had one good cell match and that cemented his career. To then get the cage lifted up with Taker on top of it, stretched out, to then come back and get climb the cell again, and this time get thrown through it, and then come back out again and fall into tacks and to get the tooth through his nose. The story that's then told of this character Mankind that is supposed to be the representation of man's psyche, that we're just these beaten down, broken human beings that just keep getting up in adversity and facing it over and over and over again. It's beautiful storytelling. Technical wrestler, yeah, no, I can't think of a single fucking match Mick Foley's won without a bat or a sock in his hand. So
do you know the best part of that King of the Ring match for me? Danish knows what I'm going to say here. Terry Funk getting chokeslammed out of his trainers.
I can't believe it. I'm sitting here, my silences, I'm incandescent with rage because Mick Foley is my favourite wrestler. You know that. But and I think it's been beautifully, eloquently put, the rebuttal. But I was just trying to find an analogy. And I was just thinking of like 80s action stars. So like, you know, I've got Stallone, you've got Schwarzenegger, and they're like your big 80s action hitters. and you can't, like The Rock, Austin. I can't imagine being those kind of people because that's not my way my psyche is. My build isn't like that or anything. Mankind is Bruce Willis and Die Hard. I am feeling everything that Mankind suffers, whether it be Cactus Jack, Dude Love, and he is like the everyman of wrestling. So to me, wrestling isn't about
every man in wrestling.
Yeah,
10 billion personas.
As we know with like Bret Hart, I don't emote with somebody who is like technically the best wrestler on the planet. But I know if I get thrown off a roof, it's gonna bloody hurt me. So when I see that happen to Mick, I'm kind of like, shit, he's in serious trouble here. And that's, to me, wrestling's about, if I feel an emotion, I'm connected to it. And Mick Foley can make you feel any emotion he wants you to with that. And that's, yeah. And also, he has gone through things that no other human being should ever go through.
Yeah.
Like being a massive kiss arse on Twitter and all his socials. I hate him.
I'm talking about the wrestling years, Aid. Purely the wrestling years.
Oh, you mean when he retired and he wasn't going to come back?
And then came back
as well. Yeah.
And then was TNA champion.
I will give yourself credit as well to Mick. Incredible for the Edge push for Edge Taker. Like one little segment that they have together is a fantastic push. This is during the Edge Vicky marriage saga, which is I think one of the greatest storytelling moments in WWE's, like, is it not Attitude? What's Ruthless Aggression era of Edge marrying Vicky and using the big whole power plays and stuff, and then having to ask Mick Foley for help, and then that's the villain switch. That's the heel turn for it, with a bigger heel turn. The Animal, the rated R superstar, comes back. You don't get that without Foley saying something to him on TV. There's no one else.
And that's a great point. How many people? Sorry, this feels like I'm attacking you now, and I'm not. I'm just defending Mick. How many people Mick Foley made where they needed a new start? So like Triple H in the early 2000s, he'd had the belt, but he didn't quite feel like he was in the same sphere as Austin and Rock. Get him in a feud with Cactus Jack, get him in that hardcore match at the Rumble, and suddenly Triple H feels like, yeah, he's good for being in those kind of matches. The ones we started on the list at the beginning, Randy Orton against Foley at Backlash. Randy Orton not quite legitimised as the IC champion. Get him in a hardcore match with Mick Foley and get him in some tax and things. And suddenly everyone's like, yeah, Orton's quite tough, isn't he? And Mick Foley's made so many people over various different eras.
But in the point that Aid's making as well, he's not a wrestler. He's not.
No,
he's not.
No.
Yeah. He's not a technical wrestler. But in a rebuttal, then for you with Brett, I do think Owens are better. But wrestling would not have half the credit. I mean, yeah, you've got Hulkamania running wild and all that kind of stuff, but without Bret Hart, you lose Canada, really. Until Jericho rocks up. Even then, it didn't win everybody over. Without the Hart Foundation, without Bret, you don't really get Canada into wrestling. You're waiting for Kenny to show up. You're waiting for Chris Jericho to show up. You're waiting for, everybody else. And Bret very much kind of leads into my hot take, really.
Without Bret Hart, there is no Austin 316.
Yeah,
there's the slogan, but who put him on the map? Who was his big, who were his big first feuds with, apart from Gorilla Monsoon when he told him get out the ring, get out of the building? But it was Bret. He fought Bret. He couldn't beat Bret twice, and then he finally beat him at the In Your House. And that night after In Your House, that Raw, and Danich, that Raw was phenomenal.
Yeah,
it was the Hart Foundation with Bret spearheading it. It was amazing.
Love that Raw. But again, I just think, like, yeah, with that, it's one of them things. It's the players around Brett. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve any credit. He absolutely does. But it's that team effort thing. And
Well, he was
yeah,
the mouthpiece.
I get what you're
He
saying.
was the tip.
I know.
He was the tip of that spear, though.
Yes, I know what you're saying. He's just not my favourite Aid in terms of like the personnel involved. There's other people
Ah, there's
there,
Mick
and
Foley.
like,
Mick Foley's a shithouse, isn't he? So there you go. Now we're just bitching back and forth. No, we're not. No.
it's just people who we don't personally get, and yeah.
It's just it's all personal opinion.
As we get more into these conversations, you'll get to know, Tom, that I do gravitate towards more of the technical wrestlers.
Yeah.
Whereas Danich goes for the gimmick.
Yeah.
And he'll say that up front. He goes for the gimmick, I go for more the wrestling. So for me, with the whole Mick Foley and Mankind, when he come in as Mankind, it's like, yeah, okay. I didn't really get it as a kid.
No.
And then the more I saw it, I was like, okay, he's just bang average in the ring. And then he started turning to be the stunt man, as Flair calls him. And it just was for me, and it was just that I didn't get it. Now, I'm not going to say his legacy is garbage, because it isn't.
No.
He is the one that, to be fair, swung the Monday Night Wars. Without him winning that belt, and without Schiavone saying, "Oh, Mick Foley's going to win it," you don't want to see that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So for that, I credit to him, but I just don't get him.
No, yeah, well, that's the whole point. It's a hot take of our own personal opinions and that kind of thing. That's the whole point in it. And as you say, like if you go for the more technical aspects of what you're analysing, and Danich goes for the more gimmick side of it, I personally go through kind of a semi-mixture of the two. If your gimmick or your gimmick and your character displays itself in the ring, I'm much technically as well. I'm much more in tune to liking you. So like my favorite wrestler of all time is Taker. Always has been since I was a kid. He's always been my favorite wrestler of all time, The Undertaker, because his character, his kayfabe, is relentless throughout the entirety of the thing. Even up to him laughing in Brock Lesnar's face together in that ridiculousness, it's still woven and it still flows beautifully. And like, I'm not the biggest fan of the American Badass. When I was a kid, I didn't like it. I didn't like the American Badass when I was a kid, but I've kind of seen the relevance of it now as it fits that time. You know, it fits that kind of era more than the Dead Man does. Dead Man Inc. Fixes more than the Undertaker, the Phenom.
Big Booger Red, when he was Big Booger Red afterwards as well. Then he was Big Evil.
Yeah, Danich
lost Big Booger Red.
It just fits, and coming out to Limp Bizkit, you know, it just fits a lot.
Yeah,
it just fits a lot more of that time frame in the era. So Undertaker for me has always been my favorite, and then in the Ruthless Aggression era, when he became the Phenom, and then Punk came along, I was much more into kind of. I didn't latch onto Punk when I first, because obviously he wasn't being pushed for like the ECW years and Money in the Bank at 24 and 25 of winning it. Didn't really kind of push it on him. Then I wasn't into him. I wasn't onto him until he started. The Straight Edge Society kind of won me a little bit, and then I
like Straight Edge Society
as it kind of went on further, and then he started becoming the voice of the voiceless kind of thing, that kind of attacking the authority. So we're talking 2013 sort of era was where I kind of really latched on to Punk. Onwards, and then now currently, if there's anyone out of the modern day era that still follows that same vein of being fantastic in the ring, technically, character and gimmick wise, it's MJF. Like
I knew that was coming.
It has to be. He is the greatest at the moment of what he does. He is fantastic. I don't care. You can hate him. I love this half heel face turn he's doing, where I may be a scumbag, but I'm your scumbag, and everyone's all for it. I'm loving him for it. But I'm saying this because I'm trying to build as many sandbags as I can for my hot take of the wrestler that I don't understand the hype for, which is the Ultimate Warrior. I don't understand it, and I don't get it at all. I was trying to look up things of why. I was trying to remember off the top of my head of moments of the Ultimate Warrior where I was going, oh, I remember that moment, and it's a clip, and that's just him running. All I remember is just him running. It's just him running. I don't know if that's running down to the
Dennis
honky.
died.
I don't know if that's running down to the honky tonk man. I don't know if that's running to save Hogan. I don't know if that's running for the Royal Rumble for Rumble with Hogan. I don't know what that run is. Technically in the ring has 2 moves, which is a very stiff, ugly clothesline and a splash. That's not off the top.
Gorilla press slam. He's got the press slam.
Which he can do to about 10% of the roster. Because
He's still got the third move.
it's still okay, and the slam.
Still got it.
The splash isn't off the top rope. He runs the middle ropes and then just belly flops. The gorilla press, like I said, it's the era of WWF and WCW where weight classes were just
Everyone's massive. Everyone's massive.
Everyone's a
Everyone's on
bodybuilder,
steroids.
and he's like
Everyone's on
here.
steroids.
I don't remember who he picks up. I think he picks up. It's not who was with Nash in NWO. Not
Hall.
Yeah, I think it is him that he gets because what were they called when they were at WCW?
The Outsiders.
Yeah, I think it's him that he's got, and he's like, you can hear. I think it's McMahon going, he's going for the gorilla, for like, "Rrr," and he's got him by the trunks and is pulling like a wedgie on it, and he does that, and then just tries to throw him because he can't get him up. I don't get the hype. I don't understand. I mean, yeah, he got done over a bunch of times, Warrior, by the Authority. He got done over a bunch of times by McMahon, and he got done over a bunch of times by Hogan. But the guy was marketed to be the next Hulk Hogan. That was what he was He was to be brought in to be the next Hogan, and then just was never pushed as that, and just wasn't developed as that. I know Warrior for makeup and running and shaking the ropes.
And silly promos.
I can see Mars or whatever the fuck he would talk about.
I was gonna say, I think that's the thing with Warrior is Hogan. As much as we can say we like him or we don't like him, if he was booked on a chat show, he can tone it down. He can just be brother and everything. And they thought, Warrior will do the same. He'll stop talking about like Destrucity and Jupiter entering Uranus when he's on Arsenio Hall, and he just wouldn't do that. He was just like, I am always the Warrior, and they just thought, what do you do with this guy? Because you can't have him. So I get where you're coming from, Tom. But as a kid, where you don't know any of the corporate stuff, you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I can see why you've said Warrior.
I think, there's an age demographic gap here, isn't there, obviously, where, like,
yes.
I'm 28 in October, so I'm 1995, born 96, didn't get into wrestling until 2005. So, like 2006 kind of era. I think the first pay-per-view I ever saw was 06's Rumble, where Ray won it, when he came in at number 2. I think that's 06's Rumble. They had like the big kind of like Romanesque kind of things, and Randy Orton tried to get him and he flipped him, and he came out because it was after Eddie had died, same year Eddie had died, hadn't it, or the year after Eddie had died, and he came out in the lowrider. So like obviously there's a big age gap here, and I'm trying my best to go back to the WWF days and watch it. They're not the easiest things to watch.
No, they're not,
because they're very slow. They're very janky. They're not. Obviously it's not very fleshed out in terms of moves and the kick, because as we've said, they're beasts of people. They're not human beings. They're just roided up, unable to make it as bodybuilders professionally, and wanted a more steady income, so became wrestlers. I thought you were going to pick Sting, in all honesty, Aid, but I think like I don't know. So yeah, I think
save him for another day.
I just didn't see, watching the Ultimate Warrior things. I tried to find like his. I looked up the best Ultimate Warrior moments on the network, and if this is such a cultural icon and you fit his best moments into 26 minutes of a video, what's the whole great big kind of thing about him. I just didn't
Gimmick.
I just didn't get it. Well, maybe that's
Yeah,
what it is. Maybe the
yeah.
gimmick just didn't resonate with me as a 28-year-old. Just didn't resonate with me. But I imagine as a kid, you see a big guy, big fluffy hair, colourful, running, absolute monster machine. I can see that. I just never got the.
And like you say that, Tom, if now I'm trying to think, if aliens came from another planet and they said, we're interested in wrestling, we've heard of this Ultimate Warrior, explain what he is, what's his gimmick. Now you've said that, I'd be like, he's just a big guy who runs really fast and he's got face paint on. I know what you mean. Like everybody else's gimmick I could take you through and go, oh, well, he's like an undead mortician. Or, he's like the strongest guy there is. But Ultimate Warrior, I don't know anything what it means, what it stands for, but I just know I love it.
I think that's what he was definitely sold for the kids. Like he was sold for the kids to see this alien, because let's talk about space. What do kids like? Space and dinosaurs. Like, let's push that. That's probably why, like, fucking Luchasaurus is being pushed in AEW, because kids like dinosaurs. Aid likes dinosaurs. That's that kind of generation of wrestling, of pushing something to sell rather than pushing something that's flushed out and developed. It was just, we need a superhero.
You look at how much. I was going to say, look at how much merchandise now. If we went and wanted to buy wrestling figures, I bet we could. Well, we know you can buy like hundreds of Ultimate Warrior figures because he's perfect to put on like t-shirts and lunch boxes and all of that. Yeah, he's perfect for that.
He was a very marketable character. He had the build that Vince creams over.
Yeah,
he's big, he's muscled, he's over 6 foot. He had ridiculous muscles. He had the paint. The paint, he had it as the Dingo Warrior, but it wasn't like as it was. But then when he comes to WWE, obviously Vince put the twist on it, got him in bright colours, because what do you notice the most? Bright colours, face paint, because at that time, Aloe and things like that, Demolition. Obviously, Aloe weren't there at the time when it first started. They were the Road Warriors, but they had Demolition, which were obviously Dingy's version, WWF's version. He was marketed to kids 100%, and as a kid, I loved him. About 15, 20 years ago, when was it that they did that documentary, Danich, where they tore him apart?
Mm-hmm. Oh God, about 20 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
You thought, okay, fair enough. And then, because I was inquisitive Aid then, it was like, let's go in and look. And then I looked back and I was like, he ain't that good. And then you hear Hogan now. I know Hogan's Hogan and Terry's a good liar. I know that. But this story I can believe, when they were in, I think it was the Mania 6 match, when after about a minute, he was like, let's go home, let's go home. He's like, no, brother, we've got another 8 minutes. You come, you're staying here, you are. And it's like, Hogan's got carrier. Holy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how crap he is.
Yeah.
And then that's what kind of opened my... So I've got to thank Terry for something. He opened my eyes to how shit the Warrior is.
Yeah.
So I agree with your hot take.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think as well with that, you can say about Warrior is definitely a case of right place, right time for that first run.
That's exactly how it felt.
Yeah, when he comes back in the 90s in WWF and when he went to WCW. Well, there isn't there a age that if you watch that, the pop when he first comes back is like, this is amazing, and then within seconds people are like, no, actually it's not as good as like I remember, and it just got worse and worse every time he came back. And it is, it's just a proper success story of like, you were in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, that's exactly how watching it, that's how it felt. I completely agree with you guys when you're a kid and you see him and it's like, it's Superman.
Oh, he was amazing.
It's the man from Mars coming out and wrecking house and being big and energetic and all that kind of stuff. And if you've gone back,
the music was ace.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we'll
get. It's one of the things I want to go down on one of these things of the 4 pillars of just like greatest entrance musics or hot take of which entrance music do people rave about but actually sucks or whatever it may be, whatever we decide. I'm just another thing. I don't know if we'll do this next week or it hasn't really announced anything yet. Okay, it's not till the 9th, I don't think, or the 7th. Oh, 7th. Fastlane's 2 weeks away, I believe. No,
Okay.
longer than that, I'm not sure. So we might do a thing where we, in one of our weeks, where we discuss, when they release the match cards for it and stuff, our predictions for the matches and all that kind of stuff. And the week before we might have our own little league table and stuff and all that kind of thing of figuring out. Discord message get stuffed. So yeah, and doing that kind of thing, and we may do like a Royal Rumble wheel where we'll spin a wheel for a year of a Rumble and we'll watch a Rumble together, and there may be a good Rumble, there may be a really, really bad Rumble, maybe a Rumble that we might not want to watch because of a certain person winning it.
I hope it's 2002 Rumble.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
one of my favourites.
2002. On his kind of vein, the documentary, the true crime documentary about it, I think it's called Rabid or something like that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the poor choice in the words on majority of this. I sent a photo of the one they've got for Randy Orton on the WWE Network. What's it called? It's so stupid. Where's my phone? I think it's like Randy Orton. Oh Christ, where is it? Is it still on my phone? Hold on. Sorry.
It's the evolution of a predator.
That's it,
Randy
yeah.
Orton.
Evolution of
No, it can't be called. Honestly, because just look at the thumbnails. Evolution of a predator.
Evolution of a predator.
Sounds like something Chris Hansen should be presenting.
Honestly, evolution of a predator.
Knocking on Randy's door.
That's wow.
It's so bad, isn't it? You can't name. And it's
Not nowadays.
of
you
a
can't.
beloved superstar as well. You can't. Evolution of a predator.
Evolution of a predator. There you go.
Absolutely ridiculous.
So I've got something for you.
Okay.
For both of you. I know obviously it could be its own topic, but I just want a dead quick first. I don't want you to explain. We'll go into that at another time.
Yeah.
But Danich, give me a Mount Rushmore. Just names.
What? Straight off, like
Yeah.
Okay.
Of
Hogan.
wait, okay, sorry. Of just the best of all time, or we just of anything in particular? Just the greatest of all time.
Of all time.
Oh, the greatest of all time.
The-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers.
Okay. Oh shit.
We don't want. We
Okay.
don't. We're going to do a deep dive into it at another time.
Yeah. Just
But
first four
just-
names. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, obviously, like personal favourites, aren't they? So, like Hogan, Austin, Mankind, like Foley, Undertaker.
Okay.
Right. Tom.
Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. Oh, this is really, really goddamn difficult to just do it off the top of the head without having to think about it. Because especially for my era, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, greatest of all time.
You've got to have your Punk in there, surely.
I'm thinking about having Punk in there, but I'm also, what am I weighing at Punk for being on the mic? But Cena was also good on the mic, and I don't want to say Cena. It's like, okay.
Do you want me to give you some more time and give you mine?
You go. If you've got your four.
Austin, Rock, Flair, Angle. There you go. Now it's your turn.
That's not time, is it? That's not time. That's
Wow, it was a second.
Undertaker. Angle's a very good fucking shout as well.
Yeah, when you hear other people's, you start thinking, "Oh, I should
Okay,
put them on."
okay. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Edge. Fuck. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Edge. It's like it's only going to be people from Ruthless Aggression and back. There's no one today, really. Are we just talking about in the ring and not who they are personally outside of the ring?
Not
Yeah.
personally, no.
I might put
not personally.
I might put Jeff Hardy in there. I
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know. I think it's a big revolution.
Wow,
I think it's a big revolutionary for my time and my again. Like this is going off of my age bracket and what I've grown up with. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Edge, and I'd probably put. I think Jeff's the better. I'm not going to deep dive it. Obviously, I think Jeff's the better brother. I think Jeff did a lot for the company as high flying and risk taking. So, yeah.
And if you both would have picked a fifth, who would you have as your number 5?
The fifth Rushmore head.
No, just like in case Rushmore head crumbles and you've got rebuild the face, but it can't be the same wrestler.
I can't remember what that one looked like.
I can't remember what he looked like. There's no pictures ever of it.
I can't remember Undertaker's face. Who's Mark Calloway? I can't remember. What do they look like? I can't remember. Beardy fucker. I can't. But now, okay, it's a good. I appreciate being given a fifth, but it means like how you're picking this person fifth over those other 4 that you had.
No, not really. It just gives you. It just gives you a top
If
5.
if I could, I'd have H Michaels, the Road Dog, like I'd have DX.
Road Dogg should be on no list. Road Dogg, let's get it right. He should be on no list.
But I
I'd have
agreed with
DX.
Road Dogg when he said he was a better entertainer than Bret Hart. I got what he meant.
You have to take that little dig, don't you?
If I was having a fifth, I'd say the greatest of all time. If I was having a fifth, Steve Austin. If I was having a fifth, I'd have Steve Austin. I'd say Hardy.
Like you, Danich.
Hardy gets on there before.
Michaels would say yeah.
Go on then.
Mick Foley.
You liar. That's what you do. You can't go through a whole talk about how much you hate Mick Foley and then go, but if one of my Rushmore heads collapsed and for the life of me I couldn't remember what The Rock looks like. I know I do. I'll just quickly carve in.
I'd make Dude Love. No,
Austin a beard and a lock of hair and it's Dude Love.
It's got to be Hogan on it. It's got to be.
Did you not have Hogan?
It's got to be.
Did you not have Hogan on your 4?
Austin, Rock, Angle, Flair.
Oh,
I had Hogan.
Flair's a good
Doc.
shout as well.
Flair's the best ever.
Flair, it's a good. I mean, Eddie. I'd put Eddie on there. How could you not have Eddie Guerrero as one of the greatest of all times?
Quite easily.
Shut
He
up.
ain't even there. He isn't there.
Eddie Guerrero is a.
He had a good 4 years.
But what
I was going to say Eddie's brilliant, but it's not enough.
What
like,
a 4 years though. The man revolutionized cheating. The man revolutionized cheating a win. I don't care who you are. If there is no more iconic cheating than slapping the ring with a steel chair, throwing it at someone, and laying sparked out. It is recreated so much by every superstar following that MJF and Adam Cole did it in their main event at All In, trying to play it off like it was original, and it wasn't. Like, I'd put Ed the sixth head. If there was a sixth head, the other 2 had crumbled.
Sixth head.
If someone else's
sixth head,
face had
sorry.
crumbled, or if we needed cultural diversity, I'd put Eddie Guerrero's.
I've got the Rock. I'm sound.
If it was if it was a woke Mount Rushmore, I'd have Eddie Guerrero up there and like 3D. Put the Dudley Boys up there as well.
We can have that one time, not now, but we could have one. We could tag Mount Rushmore because I think sometimes tag wrestlers don't get enough.
Into the new fucking we're rebuilding Mount Rushmore again. but instead of 4, we're gonna have 8 heads. 8 heads.
And then we're gonna have 2 backups as well. 2 backups.
Right. Okay. Just because this is fun, like this is a good end segment to finish stuff off. It's just very quick worded, singular spot answers. Okay. So all of us get a phone call tomorrow. We get a phone call tomorrow. It's Trips, and Trips says to you, like, "Oh, we're doing one show. We're putting all the commentators together, but we need you to work with somebody, and you can choose. Who do you pick as your co-commentator to sit next to you?" Like, you get phoned up, you turn up to the live event, you sat down, there's 1 extra seat there next to you. Who do you want sitting in that seat?
Am I play-by-play or colour?
I'd say it's a shared experience. I'd say it's the same kind of way in which Taz and what's his name?
Shivani?
No,
Excalibur?
Taz and Excalibur kind of partnership. So it's colour from each of you, and it's also a bit of banter, a bit of back and forth, bit of conversation. I mean, I've probably just chosen like one of the 2 there that I think a lot of people would pick currently in the nowadays. It's very probably fun to work with, being Taz. Not who I would pick, but
Who'd you pick, Deitch?
The Brain, just Bobby Heenan.
That was my initial one, but then because obviously
you wouldn't get a word in, and you'd always be second best, but you'd just be laughing your head off on the commentary. So all you've got to do every now and again is say like, "Will you stop?" or "Can you be serious?" You just got to do a bit of Monsoon, haven't you, for him?
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say Brain purely because if Tom would have said I was play-by-play, it's got to be Brain, best colour man. But then he said we're off and off, so I'm like, oh. And then I thought Taz, and it's like, oh no, you said Taz. And then I thought to myself,
you can have Taz.
I don't want Taz. Fuck him. You can have him.
I don't want him. I know who I want.
And then I recently saw something, and Jesse the Body Ventura was on it doing the commentary, and I just thought to myself, yes, Jesse.
Right. Okay. I mean, my joke answer would have been the King, would have been Lawler, but I felt like in today's society probably wouldn't sit too well.
You're not going to say Punk, are you?
No. I wouldn't want to sit down with Punk and do it. No. I mean like a full-fledged person who's done it as a job, not a guest kind of thing. Like JR's done it as a job, Shivani's done it as a job, Taz is doing it. Yeah, they have done it as a job. For me, I think the person who I could have a good conversation with and have heated debate back and forth with and have fun with might be Paul Heyman. Possibly Paul Heyman on the commentary would be a good, not necessarily the funnest or the funniest to do, but would be good commentary and play-by-plays in colour. If not, then I would have probably picked Taz. I think Taz just doesn't give a fuck anymore when he does commentary.
He doesn't in AEW, never really doesn't. He's ace. Yeah. I mean, Matt Striker was good on commentary. He was very good.
There are moments like Jerry. I think that Iron Man match with Brock, Jerry has Brock and Angle. Jerry is on it. I think for that match, Jerry Lawler's very, very good in it. JR, in his younger days, probably the goat at it. I mean, he spent his whole life at WWF and WWE. He's not going to remember anything for all the other stuff, and he's going to slip up. Who would you not want? I already fucking know. I know who I definitely don't fucking want sat next to me. Immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately know who I don't want. I can't stand him. Week in, week out, can't fucking stand him.
I wouldn't want to sit next.
I'm going to exclude. I'm going to exclude Vince from this.
Oh,
sorry.
I was going to say he'd be my one because I could not stand him with calling everything a maneuver.
What a maneuver!
Yeah, just.
Oh shit! The bed. One person that I don't want to be sat
Oh,
next or stood next to, sat next to.
there's two I could.
I would say.
Oh, Booker would have been a good shout as well. Booker's shite at commentary.
Yes, he is, isn't he, Danich?
He's good on the pre-shows, Aid. I like him.
Terrible.
No, he's not.
He's
No,
terrible
he's
at
not.
NXT.
No, he's not.
It's on Twitter.
He does the fucking shucky ducky quack quack moment of the week. What a twat. Oh, God, I hate him. Ian Riccaboni from Ring of Honor.
Okay.
I don't want to sit next to him. His voice and face annoying me.
Danich?
There you go.
Well, I can't have Vince. Okay. So the other one would be Shivani telling me what year it is, and it's the greatest night in the history of a sport.
And
yeah.
it stings!
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Shivani called Adam Cole and MJF a pair of pricks.
All right, WCW Shivani.
All right.
WCW Shivani.
But then you've got Zabisco, and I fucking hate Larry Zabisco. I can't stand him if you get WCW. I hate Zabisco. Oh my God. Here's another hot take as well. I don't get Harley Race.
I don't even know who Harley Race is.
What? He's got a very good wrestling brain. So he went through a phase. When WWE and Television were doing all these documentaries, and every time he was there, wanted Danish will agree with me, he was there sitting like this, and he goes, Ric Flair has a very good wrestling brain. And whoever it was, it just changed. Whoever it was, Mick Foley didn't have a brain, tough as nails. But Harley Race was a hard fucker, and that's who Flair won his first championship off. 1987, was it? 88?
I think
Was
it's
it
like
earlier
80,
than that?
82, 83. The other thing as
It
well
was
with
Flair
that,
for the gold, wasn't it?
yeah, and Harley Race is like somebody that everybody stole off. Like Triple H took a lot of stuff off him, didn't he? The knee and like a lot of them kind of attacks. The Indian Deathlock that JR nearly had a heart attack when he saw it.
He did. He did. I just don't get Harley Race.
He's one of them ones, I think, if you are in wrestling, people love him because he obviously did a lot for people who worked in wrestling. But yeah, he's from that era where it was so slow. Like, he obviously smoked about like 80 a day, didn't he, and stuff. And,
100%.
you know, never saw a gym in his life, but he was just a big fucker who could.
He was hard as nails, though.
Yeah,
hard as nails.
Yeah.
Real life hard as nails as well, Tom. Real life hard as nails.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolute weapon.
Yeah.
All right.
It was basically the white Haku.
Oh, okay.
It's the best way to describe him, isn't it? With mutton chops, with big mutton chops.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Okay.
Harley Race. But I don't get him. But anyway, that's another time.
Okay, so you're Shivani. You don't want to sit next to.
Yeah,
that's Danich.
No way. Right. Yeah, no.
I was surprised. Like, my flip was between two, and I feel like both of them I'd rather not. If it's a 3-man sitting, don't want to sit next to Corey Graves.
No. He's got that Mr. Whippy hair.
Thanks. It's not even his hair. It's fucking. He can't decide what side of the fence he's on. He's either backing the crowd or hating the crowd. I hate that he backs the underdogs. Pretty deadly. Like he backs he's an absolute wet lettuce. I wouldn't want to sit next to Corey Graves, but then I'd also not want to sit next to Michael Cole. The pair of those, I can't sit. If it was the Rumble, I can't sit next to Michael Cole every 30 seconds going, remember the rule is to go over the top rope and both feet must hit the floor. Like, every minute he's like, and then when someone gets thrown out, he goes, oh, he rolled under the ring. Remember the rules are you have to go over the top rope with both feet hitting the floor in order to be eliminated, and they're still in this matchup. It's like, oh, fucking hell.
Would you not like him going when the music comes and then it says The Rock and it goes, it couldn't be. It is. It's like, yeah, we know it is. It says
I would only want
The Rock.
No, I would. There is no even past memory where I could think where I'd like to sit next to Michael Cole for a moment of his commentary. I want to sit next to
Boss Time.
I'd want to sit next to JR when Kane came back. That's yeah. It's gotta be Kate. That's the yeah. That's yes. I was sitting next.
That's Vince.
Is it Vince?
Vince says
I thought that was JR.
No, it's Vince and it's Danich.
In the first Hell in a Cell, yeah, that's Vince, and it's the call of his life. It's the best.
That's Vince's call.
As much as I, yeah.
I thought it was.
Oh, but then again, I'd sit next to JR when Mankind got thrown off. By God is my witness, he is broken in half. Like that was, it's like
that's peak JR.
That's peak JR.
Yeah.
Rather than sitting next to Lawler going, she's gonna show the puppies. Like rather than sitting next to that absolute hound dog.
Although there's a bit in that match, the Hell in a Cell with King, where it's when he gets choke slammed through the actual roof, and King just kind of goes, "That's it, they've killed him." And he's like, "As if good night, everybody."
He's killed him. He's killed him. He's killed him. All right.
No, yeah.
So I've asked one. Aids asked one. Danich, do you have a quick fire question just to go?
Yeah, come on, Danich.
Do one each kind of thing. I mean, mine kind of was two, but it split into the same thing.
Okay then. So out of the big 4 pay-per-views, what's everybody like? The Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. What? And I'm thinking Survivor Series back when you had like the 4-on-4 tags, and that's all it was.
Bastard. Okay.
What's everybody's favorite? What's everybody's favorite and why? Like what if you had to appear on one of them cards? Which one are you going on and why?
Ooh. Go on, Tom. Danich knows my answer already,
Ooh. Okay, I'm appearing on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can only appear on one of. You've been given the choice of appearing on. It's your debut. You got
on debut. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, it's my debut. Okay, if it's my debut. Don't want to debut at Mania. I wouldn't want to debut at Mania. If I'm on Survivor Series and it's on a team, it depends on the. God, if it's now, it's Rumble. If it's now, it's Rumble. I debut in the 30-man. That would be it. I think the Royal Rumble is the most looked forward to pay-per-view of the year, is the actual Rumble match, because it has comebacks, it has incredible openings for number ones, it has stuff that you don't really kind of expect, and when people go over the top, depending on who eliminates who, goes over so much. Like when Brock came in 3 years ago now, when he came in at number 1 and just annihilated and wrecked house, and then got eliminated by Drew, the pop that went off for Drew, the pop for Edge returning, like, oh my God, was that fun. Yeah, MVP came back, and who gave a fuck? But like, the pop. You cared? He come out.
Yeah, MVP was great.
Wakanda Forever came out in a Black Panther MVP, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What's wrong with MVP?
Everything's wrong. I hated MVP when I was a kid. Hated him. His stupid inflatable tunnel. Grow up. I was done with him.
You know,
I was done with it. He was a good United States champion. I'll give him that.
Don't like Warrior, don't like MVP. What's wrong with you? You created that shitbag list at the start. Not Cultaholic, more like Tomaholic.
Yeah, because I would definitely have had Rock and Hogan as my number 1.
Of course you would. God, no, there'd be a lot more CM Punk.
There'd be a lot more. Yeah, there would. It would have been CM Punk. It'd be CM. To be fair, if it was Survivor Series, it was my pick. CM Punk, DX, and the Hardy Boys against Team Rated RKO is one of the greatest Survivor Series matches of all time, because it involves Shawn Michaels super kicking somebody, pinning them in the first 10 seconds of the match, then turning to Triple H and going, "Who was that? Who was he? Was he in the match?"
Oh, yeah.
As he started, and everyone was like, yeah, he's in ECW. And he's like, oh, is he? Right, okay then. Absolutely. No, Shawn Michaels in the ring. He's the funniest guy in the ring as a technical wrestler. Funniest in the ring. Him versus Hogan, those sellings, it's the funniest match ever. Can't tell me otherwise. Yeah, so Royal Rumble's mine.
Rumble.
See, all right, I would have said Rumble, but you've both done it so well. I'd go Survivor Series route. Do the old like Undertaker mystery opponents. So, you know, like where you're on the back of the video and you're just like the black silhouetted out person with the question mark on you.
Oh,
Yeah,
Think it's it's a really good way of getting you in, and like the anticipation of like who is going to be the mystery man.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shame it's a shit pay-per-view now.
War Games.
Don't forget as well,
Games.
Undertaker could have been the gobbledygooker. He was worried about the big egg.
Who wouldn't be worried about the big egg?
He said, then he saw the big egg and thought, I'm going to be the egg man.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, it was Hector Guerrero on it.
Yeah, I mean, as well now, gobbledygooker is infamous. So it just took like 30 years to get over instead of like instantaneously.
Survivor Series is a very good shout. I don't think if you were debuting, I don't think you'd want to debut at Mania. You'd be a mid-card thing if you were debuting at Mania. You'd be a pre-show.
You'd get lost in the shuffle because obviously Mania's 2 nights now, and if you were going to debut at Mania, it's like, how would you do it?
Yeah.
You'd have to do it something like you'd either interfere with something, or you'd come out and it'd be like a Vince or a Pat McAfee kind of thing where you have to do that kind of deal and skit. It's one of them things. Or saying that though, Saint Cody Rhodes re-debuted at thingy.
He's already
Yes.
He has already established, but he's going against possibly one of the greatest people to go against for a return against Seth Rollins, when he comes back. So I guess that also takes into the account as well who you're debuting against. But Cody's already over with a lot of the fans when he comes back. He's already over a lot of the time.
Don't know why,
I was gonna
he is.
like an example of that. What are you saying there about it flopping at Mania and not going anywhere? The last time I remember that was like, can you remember Fandango fought Jericho? And it was built up as like Fandango's match, and he went over, he beat Jericho. Okay, we got the Fandango in with the music and stuff, and it get to like number 12 in like the UK charts and stuff, but it did nothing for Fandango in the long run. He just dropped off.
I think if you're coming in the Rumble, you come in at a nice, good number. Like, I think they probably made a mistake with AJ debuting at number 3. Was a bit... I mean, it gets him a lot of time and not a lot of people in the ring with him as well, I suppose. But you didn't really have much to shine against Roman Reigns, who'd just gone 10 minutes with Rusev. Just... I don't know. But I think if you come in at a good...
And let's never forget in that Rumble, Tom, they cocked up the entrance for Styles and the camera was on Roman rather than the time for Styles and the pop.
It's just him like... confused looking at the TV. Yeah, they fixed it now in the editing of Edge's return. You're watching that live, and they cut away from him, and the first thing he hits is a spear, and they cut away. Cut away from him in it. I was watching, going, "What the fuck have you just done?" Like, guy comes back. I still get chilled. That's the best pop, I think, of my generation. Was that.
Not Cena coming back at Madison Square Garden Rumble at 30.
It was very, very good, but I don't know. I think
it's a different return.
When you've kind of grown with Edge and then you see him retire and being told that he can never come back, and a lot of wrestlers have done like, I'm never coming back because of injury, and then are back 12 months later. But 9 years, Mick Foley. But then coming back after 9 years, like same with Punk, when Punk came back after 9 years and like gave his big speech, and people like, I know people who did cry over it. I was very fucking hyped when he came back because it's CM Punk. But I think when Cena was like, I wasn't a big Cena mark. I was much more an Undertaker mark, because Undertaker, Michaels, Batista, and Cena and Triple H were kind of the big sort of 5 for my generation when I was watching.
Look at that. There's your new Mount Rushmore.
There's my new Mount Rushmore. But like, yeah. So no, I think Edge coming back to that size crowd, to number 21 coming back and just silence, and then You Think You Know Me. that noise throughout the entirety is much bigger than Cena's Abador, whatever the fuck he says. I think the Edge returning, that, and what else is a really... Dr. Thugonomics coming back. That was quite fucking good. That was quite a good pop.
Yeah,
when Cena came back for the Dr. Thugonomics.
At the Mania. Was the Mania on it?
Yeah, it was. It was to go...
Yeah.
It was Elias. It was the... Yeah. It was to...
Man, I miss Elias.
I don't.
Why?
I miss
his
his...
Ace.
I miss Zeke. I liked his brother.
Oh, here we go.
It's Hogan in the America mask again.
That's good.
Are you Hulk Hogan?
That's
no,
good.
I'm not. Are you Elias?
he's not.
No, I'm not. In the lie detector test.
I hate Ezekiel.
It's great.
Hated Ezekiel.
Loved it.
Hated Ezekiel, but loved Mr. America.
It's just...
Yeah.
That's my logic right there in a nutshell. Hate Ezekiel, who is the exact same person as Elias, but shaved.
It's the same
but
thing.
put a mask on Hogan and keep his tash. Perfect.
There's so
Love
many
it.
gimmicks just being rewashed. on Survivor Series, obviously because we have Survivor Series War Games, and that's what's happening for the next pay-per-view as War Games is coming back for it. For the next Survivor Series. I saw a terrifying possible tweet for the main event that worried me, if this is who they have as their lineup. And the thing that worried me about it was I can see it, and it just...
It's not Ezekiel versus Mr. America.
No, I wish it was. No. So you've got one side, the Judgment Day. So Finn Balor,
Yeah.
Damian Priest.
They definitely will be in one.
Oh yeah, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Versus Cody Rhodes,
KO Zane.
KO and Zayn,
Yeah. Who's the fourth?
Jey Uso.
Why?
Because Cody brought Jey over and they're all buddy, and Jay's trying to make... They've revamped...
Always about Cody. Cody Rhodes.
They've revamped this Kevin Owens rivalry again, where KO's like being, you got to earn the respect in the locker room, dude, when you've been brought over by Cody Rhodes. That's going to be Survivor Series, and it is going to be shite. It's going to be so
you know what?
bad.
I bet it won't.
It's going to be Cody Rhodes and Dominic Mysterio starting it in the middle. Then it'll be Damian Priest versus Kevin Owens. Then it'll be Finn Balor and Sami Zayn.
Jay.
And then
you're getting that way.
And then JD and Jey Uso. Oh no, Finn Balor and Jay. Yeah, Finn Balor and Jay, because they're kind of being...
I'd say Finn and Jay.
They're kind of being buddy at the minute, and I think that maybe Jay turns on KO, Sami Zayn, and Cody Rhodes in that War Games match and becomes part of the Judgment Day, or at least starts to run on his own 2 feet. Because why would you break him out of the Bloodline, him and his brother, as a tag team, then break the tag team up, to then move him to a completely different roster, to then pair him up again with the Judgment Day. It's just main event Jey Uso, who has been on a main event. It's just...
The Usos have always said...
Don't count the Usos and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens as Jey Uso being on a main event. It's not a main event match. It's not the main event.
It was a main event.
So... Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley the main event.
Why Charlotte Flair in the title picture again? Don't need be. Just get her out. Anyway, that's by the by. The Usos have always said they want to face each other at a Mania. That's what's coming.
Okay. I have another. Sorry.
Yeah.
Another thing here as well. We were talking the other day about Royal Rumbles and who we think was going to go on to face, and you were like Cody. I had a thought the moment we hung up with that, and I was saving it for talking about it on here. I was going to save it until we started getting to the Rumble, because I don't know how the story's going to go, so I'll lay my 2 fish out now. Solo Sikoa wins the Royal Rumble. Solo Sikoa wins the Solo Sikoa.
Why?
Why? Because if you've been watching if you've been watching Raw and SmackDown weekly, he's going against Paul Heyman. He's going against the orders of the Tribal Chief. He's taking matters into his own hands. There's been the whole build up previously about how that Solo doesn't need him. They're pushing him like mad. The WWE, every break interval that they have each week is promoting Solo Sikoa. he's going to win the Royal Rumble, and it's going to be such a conflict between him having to face Roman Reigns. Because he's going to have the choice, isn't he? He's going to have the choice, because he chooses his world title, and that's going to be the World Heavyweight title, or it's going to be the Bloodline.
Seth.
So he's either going to choose Seth, or he's going to choose Roman Reigns. And I think it'll be leading up to him choosing Seth, and he'll choose Roman, because and he'll win.
So they're doing Batista Triple H.
Yeah. Evolution. They're doing the evolution thing. Yeah. I think Solo Sikoa wins the Royal Rumble, and I think Solo Sikoa is the one to take, because I think Solo Sikoa is a beatable opponent for everybody else on the roster. I think because you've got to get this belt moving. You can't have this belt staying on Roman Reigns indefinitely. It's got to move. Unless it's going to be Cody Rhodes, there's nobody else. If Cody Rhodes beats him, guarantee, because Cody Rhodes is selfish with his own story, if he does beat him at WrestleMania, Damian Priest cashes in immediately. Because Cody will want the victory. He'll want the attention to be the hard times of the Cody Rhodes, of the Rhodes family, the hard times, Dusty Rhodes, or whatever it was. He'll want that. He'll want that forever. He'll want that attention. He'll want to be hard done by.
What do you think about that,
Danich? You know what? I think this week as well. Like I like the storytelling and I like the aspect of it. The thing I can't see is you've got The Rock in now, and something tells me there's strikes going on. So he needed something to do on Friday night, but there's more to it. This thing of saying, "Oh yeah, well we nearly got WrestleMania 39, me and Roman." He is testing the water to see the reaction, and then he's going to say, "Right, put me in that match." And I've just got this horrible sinking feeling that we're going to get a Roman Rock match for WrestleMania 40.
I think we are.
Now you've we are. I think because tying into the quote-unquote bloodline, that, you know, when they did the whole ceremony for Roman where it was handed down by the Wild Samoas that did it to him, and gave him the confirmation to be the tribal chief, and technically, even though he's like fifth cousin removed or whatever The Rock is, like is in zero direct correlation to any of them, but is still seen. I think that's what it'll be. He'll come back and say, you know, this tribe only really has one chief, and it's the pie-eating, eyebrow-raising great one. Trailblazing.
Didn't they kind of hint at that, where they keep mention the elders, didn't they, a few times, and said Roman's under instructions from the elders, and I've been telling anybody who'd listened since last year that is the angle they're going to go down when The Rock does come back, where he's going to say, "Look, you might be the head of the table in wrestling, but I'm the head of the table in entertainment and life.
Yeah.
So you've got to get through me." Yeah,
I'm the head of you may be the head of the table in the WWE, but I'm the head of the family, whatever it may be, head of the.
Yeah, I think your issue there, it's the belt issue.
It doesn't move.
It's the belt. It doesn't move. It needs to come off Reigns.
Yeah,
and that isn't saying he's been a bad champ. He's been a great champ, but if they don't take it off Reigns until at least, is it April the 1st or end of March, then we've still got another 6 months of Reigns being the champ, and that's if they don't put it on The Rock. If they don't put it on The Rock, then you've got Payback, which is the month after. So that's 7 more months of Reigns, who's part-time.
Yeah,
he's on a part-time schedule.
And if
I don't want Reigns as champ for 7 more months.
If Rock does take it, who takes it off Rock?
Exactly.
Cena.
I was just
Cena.
Yeah.
Who takes it off Cena? Roman Reigns. It's just full Cody Rhodes. Full fucking circle.
Well, I want, and I'm not just saying this, Aid, to annoy you. I want Cody to win it at some point. You've got that story angle, but the story wasn't against The Rock. The story's against Roman now, and all them promos that you had from last year of my family and your family between Hayden and Rhodes, it doesn't mean anything. It's so naturally built in that you get that rematch at Mania 40, but I don't think it's going to happen.
There's no build. We've got 6 months until WrestleMania, something like that. April 1st is when April 2nd is the 2 nights. It'll be the main event of the second night as well, because it won't go on first, which is ridiculous. The first night's always the better card than the second night.
Is it?
I think from last year's WrestleMania, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens was the end of the first night. It was the better match than Cody and Roman, in my opinion. I think it was a better match. I think the story was better. This is the thing, okay, about the Bloodline. This is it. The story of the Bloodline ended with Sami Zayn. In my opinion, that's when it ended.
Yeah.
It ended then. No one cares. Sorry about this, people. No one cares about Jey Uso. Nobody cares about Jimmy Uso. Nobody cares about the Usos. Nobody cares about Paul. Nobody cares about Paul Heyman not knowing how a smartphone works. That you can't just go call Roman Reigns and it works that way. It's a stupid gimmick. Anyway, it doesn't make any sense. Call him yourself, you lazy fat toad. It doesn't.
You wanted to sit next to him. You should pick the sit next to him. What are you going to do? Lead him out use the smartphone? You fat lazy toad. You can't sit there, but rip the guy apart. They go, "I won't sit by you, though, mate. It's all right."
Stop telling that phone ring, people.
Ring him yourself, you lazy toad. They go, just press 2 buttons.
Being stupid. Just the way he looks with it. He holds it so. Where's my fucking? I don't even know where my phone is now. Paul.
Hey, you need to learn how to use your phone, you lazy toad.
But
what's it by you then, mate?
Anyway, nobody cares. Nobody cared about Jimmy and Jay. Nobody cared about Roman Reigns. Nobody cared. It's not even necessarily cared about Solo. Solo was. I know it's his dad, and it's quite harsh to say, but Solo is an Umaga copy, is what he is. He's Umaga for the new generation of people who didn't get to see who Umaga was. So it's the exact same. Get the thumb, the tape, the blah, everything. It's exactly the same. Nobody cares about that. All we cared about was Sami Zayn getting done over. We just cared about his story, and then when he finally hit Roman at, where did he hit him? Was it SummerSlam? No.
He hit him in the back.
Yeah, where? Like what pay-per-view?
In the Royal Rumble.
Oh,
Royal Rumble. Hit him in the back of Royal Rumble, and then went on his hands and knees apologizing to Kevin Owens. That was the storyline we were all cared about. And then they beat the Usos and won the title. And that was it. Now it's just lost. There's no substance to the Bloodline. Nobody cares. Because if they kept Cody focused in on that point, I think they would have had much more of a focal point and much more something to gain. If they kept Cody straight on Roman, but they didn't. They had Cody and Brock go at it for months and months because Brock's a part-timer, so they just had them going at it for months. And Roman wanted to become a part-timer. Fair enough, he's been doing this a while and he's put in his dues and put in his hours. He not saying he deserves to be a part-time champ, but he deserves to have that kind of rest. But don't give him the championship. Why? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I can understand why they try and do it in AEW with MJF, but that's MJF saying it. It's MJF saying, like, I don't need to do it. When people are worthy to come up to me, I'll do it. Roman hasn't done that. Paul Heyman did it for him in one promo. Said the reason why Roman Reigns doesn't wrestle every week is because Roman Reigns doesn't need to wrestle every week. Without Paul Heyman, the entire thing falls apart. He is so crucial.
You just called him a lazy toad, and no one cares about him.
No one. No.
He can't be the most integral part of the Bloodline.
No, I'm not saying. No, I'm saying without Sami Zayn, without that storyline anymore, Paul Heyman is integral to the rest of it.
Yes, however, what you've got to remember is the Cody Rhodes promo to Roman Reigns
to finish that one.
No, the one where he said the Usos will leave you.
Yes.
Solo will leave you. That's what's happening at the minute. They're getting to that point. So the Usos are gone.
Well,
Yeah,
Jimmy's
still technically there, isn't he?
trying to get. He's in the
Yeah.
bloodline, but he's not in the bloodline, as Paul Heyman would
Yeah.
say.
So you go in, lose Jimmy, and then you'll lose Solo. That's how they're going to do it because St. Rhodes has said so. He's deemed it so. Fucking hate him. But I think that's how they're going to do it. So they're going to do that prophecy because he's a prophet. He's a prophet now as well. And then they're going to go back to the Cody thing. Cody will go, I told you. Told you what was going to happen. And now I'm your challenger. Now it's just me and you. And what are you going to do?
Beat him. Yeah, he can beat him one-on-one type of thing with no interference.
And the thing is,
and what are you going to do when Cody Mania runs wild on you?
Yeah, this is. I think. Yeah, I agree. They've tried to, but they've not. We've got 6 months. So they're going to obviously start, I suppose, doing it relatively soon when they finally transfer Cody to SmackDown as like, I'm coming for you, kind of thing.
They normally start building it at Rumble, don't they?
But like
just before.
But then why drop such a killer promo and not keep it consistent for the year? They ruined. Like, I agree that promo was fantastic. He's like, yeah, Solo's going to leave you, Uso's going to leave you, Heyman's going to leave you, and then it's just going to be you, me, ring and a belt. That's all it's going to be, and that's how. And then they should have just. I would have. That should just be exactly right. That should just be the driving force for the whole thing for Cody. And yeah, if they go with that angle, Cody wins at 40 at WrestleMania 40. Cody wins at 40, and it won't feel
night 2,
and it won't. Yeah, and it won't feel justified because he hasn't done anything in between that promo and then. He's fought Brock Lesnar. The Brock Lesnar stuff has removed all of that love for Cody Rhodes beating Roman Reigns because they drafted him to Raw so he could have more airtime on his own show. That's the only reason he's on Raw. He should have stayed on SmackDown and he should have just been the placeholder while Roman Reigns was part-time and spoke all his trash and talked all his shit on SmackDown while Roman Reigns was away. And then Roman Reigns comes back with the, I hear you've been saying some stuff about me. Boom, rivalry kicks off again. Having him talk shit on another show, that's like, having a go at someone on Xbox comms chat, like playing COD. There's like,
but don't they always?
You're on PlayStation.
Don't they always do that though? Like they see that brand split as a way to be like, we know where we're going for WrestleMania, but we can't leave them on the same show for a year, so we'll just split you. They've done that so many times with people. Like use that brand split as a way to be like, you two aren't going to come into contact.
Yeah.
But that's like cheap heat. It's not.
I'm not saying it isn't lazy, and I'm not saying it's a quickest way, but that's what they'll do. Yeah.
It's just so cheap.
What you've got to remember is, as Danny says, if you keep them on the same show, then inevitably they will have to collide. And what are you going to do? No, that's not an Ogun.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do for those 7 months to keep them apart on the same show? Physically can't.
No,
you can't. So,
but
fans
I would agree.
Annoying.
I would agree with that if Roman was full time, but he's not. He's not full time.
No, yeah, I see what you mean.
How long would it have been before the fans start going, well, Cody's there. Why is he not challenging Roman? Why is Roman not there?
No, yeah.
And then they'll have to pick up on that, and then they'll have to force it. So your main event would probably be at Survivor Series instead, because they have to rush it forward.
Which is which is fair. Which is fair enough. I mean, obviously it's a moot point anyway.
It's a shitbag move. It's a cheap way of doing it, but.
If Cody had returned, lost his WrestleMania match, and then went straight to Raw, and did all of this Brock shit, and then there was none of that previous stuff on post WrestleMania SmackDown, and then was there up until Survivor Series, where they did, or up until wherever, Survivor Series in November, up until that point, and then he goes back to SmackDown. Then you've got December, January, February, and March. 4 months of heat building there, of keeping them apart and keeping all that 4 months, 4, 8, 12, 16 weeks of heat.
But when was the last time that you saw arguably the biggest face? because that's what they're doing. They're pushing Cody
Yeah.
as the biggest face in the company and the biggest heel in the company on the same show for after Mania for a year without interacting.
No, but that's what I'm saying. You shouldn't have had him on SmackDown after Mania. You should have had him. You should have had Cody on Raw up until Survivor Series, and then have moved him back. So then you've got 16 weeks, 16 shows and the Rumble, of Cody entering the Rumble, of Cody having to go through like the entirety of the bloodline in the Rumble, so having to go against Jay, Jimmy, Solo.
I don't want Cody win again.
No one wants Cody, but no one wants Roman to win it whenever he's fucking in it, but he does. The only genuine time I was happy was when Triple H knocked him out to lose his belt. Oh my god, do that again. Force Roman to be in the Rumble with his belt. Have him come back in it and just play that whole gimmick again, so he's inevitably gonna lose it. And have him lose it to someone.
I've got bad memories about putting belts in Rumble, so we won't get into that. But
have him lose it to
Dennis,
Ricochet.
very quickly, what did you do for the Rumble when we come see it at your house? Listen to this, Tom.
Okay.
Shit house here. Listen to this.
What, printing out the previous winners and everything?
Yeah,
And
and
at
who
the
did you
top,
put right at the very top over your mantelpiece? Go on, who did you have?
Cody Rhodes, because he was going to win that
Awesome.
year's Rumble. We wanted him. We wanted him win.
We didn't. No, we didn't. You wanted him to.
That was
just
a logical. It was a logical choice.
What's the
honestly,
context behind you having to print out names? Why did you? Did you print out just
It
predictions?
wasn't names. It was the pictures. No, it was the pictures of previous winners. And
like
then
a
Cody
whole,
Rhodes at the top
like a
pissed me
whole,
off.
like,
yeah, like
It was
greatest
all over his
Rumble
wall.
winners.
like what they
yeah.
like what they did for like WrestleMania 22, where they've got like the banners hanging down of
Yes,
everyone who's got a
yes.
match, and they're like, just,
Yes.
Yeah,
that's amazing, that's great.
I think that with it,
I couldn't reach you.
And he not won it yet.
No, we knew he was going to win. We called it.
Yeah, we knew he was going to win.
But with this whole how would you get the belt off Roman thing, I just think as well now, like I was saying to Tom before we started recording, that they've almost got like too many options because Cody's logical, The Rock's logical, LA Knight's gotten to the point now where he's starting to like verbally start calling out Roman. So what do? You know, you can't put all these people in match. You can't say, well, we'll have Cody at Survivor Series or Rumble and then LA Knight at the Elimination Chamber. To me now, if I was in creative, I'd be saying we need an answer, even though it's September, for April now. And we're not going to deviate from that story.
The interesting thing as well, there's Heyman and Knight heat currently, isn't there? From the week before last Friday, because he came in like asking for a match with the Miz.
His door, didn't he? Yeah, he walked in, didn't he?
And Heyman was like, "We've never been properly introduced. My name is Paul Heyman, yeah. And just so you know, if the guy outside tells you I'm in here, knock first." And it's like, okay, interesting. I thought when he introduced himself, I thought, are we going to get a pairing between Heyman and LA Knight, which is just as dumb as having CM Punk and Heyman together, because Heyman is a mic guy, he's a talking guy, he's not a guy that just needs to walk around. Like, so you don't need to pair him with LA Knight, but it was kind of like an alternate sort of heel thing, kind of against LA Knight.
Heyman spoke about that though, about the CM Punk thing, and it's the same as when he was with Brock. Whenever CM Punk said something, he lifted that belt. And then when he lifted that belt, it gave it gravitas. CM Punk couldn't sit there, talk, and go like, I'm the champ. Yeah, I'm the champ. Yeah, he couldn't. So they had Heyman to do that little bit of like, what is it, like the ring girling, just like that. Just
like the hype man. Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't have to speak because obviously he didn't need to because Punk's good on the stick. But they did it where they did that, and I saw it and I watched it. I was like, that's actually really clever. How they did it, really clever. And they did it with Brock as well. When Brock started speaking, he was lifting the belt like he does with Roman now. When Roman says something, he lifts the belt.
Yeah,
it's just those little things.
It is, and like that's what Paul Heyman's good at. And he's done the speech. Yeah, I've seen the.
Gonna try again his good graces now. You're
No,
on a shit list.
No, like
You're on Heyman's shit list.
I love Paul Heyman. I do. I think Paul Heyman's fantastic creator. I think he's very, very good at what he does. I just hate this. I just hate this.
Sucking up, Danich. Sucking up, yes.
Cole Roman. Yeah, because he's gonna fucking call me. Hi, Paul. Jesus Christ.
He couldn't if he wanted to. He can't use the smartphone.
No.
This would be the horrible thing as well if like my career path goes the way I want it to go, and then like I'm working with him. I'm like, just so you know, like 8 years ago I did a podcast where I called you a fat lazy shit.
A lazy toad.
Listen, toad.
The toad.
Because you couldn't use a smartphone, and then I hope Heyman goes, call Vince, and it rings. And it rings. Just to show you, it's like, oh,
yeah,
it does work.
Call Hunter. Oh, call Paul Levesque. Oh, fuck. But on the vein of Heyman and Punk and Brock, that he knows how to work the two. Like he does do great conversation. I still don't think Roman's good on the mic. I still think he's not as. I don't think ever since Cena broke him down. I don't think he's.
I think he's a lot better.
I think he's gotten better. Yeah, I don't think he's same with
Yeah.
Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory's got a little bit better. I don't think he's still any good on the mic comparatively. When you compare it to people that talk on the mic, you compare it to The Rock, MJF, CM Punk, John Cena. Well, I was going to say Triple H, but he can't even fucking talk on the mic. Austin. You compare it to those people who can cut a promo, who can talk on the mic. You know, he's not Paul Heyman. Is
it fair to compare Theory's early to mid-20s to Austin Rock Hunter at times? It's not. It's fair to compare him to MJF because they're comparatively same age. You compare him to, say, Jungle Boy, fucking miles better. Jungle Boy's garbage. All he can do is say real glass. That's all he can say in the camera.
No. But this is Jungle. Every time, oh my god! If you, as soon as you become he's got one of those things that as soon as you become aware of it, you can't unhear it. And it's whenever Darby Allin talks and he goes like, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come round here," and it's like, oh my god, stop breathing like that.
Well, that's ruined that for us, Danich. So we're not watching any promos now in AEW.
Anytime he talks. Anytime he talks. Same with Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair can't talk on the mic. Charlotte Flair can't wrestle. Charlotte Flair can't do anything. Like
Charlotte Flair's the best woman they've got. Charlotte Flair's amazing in the ring.
She's no Nia Jax.
No, well, Charlotte Flair needs to keep her mouth shut when she's in the ring. I mean, I know you've got to call matches and stuff. You got to call them as they go. But she is too loud. Like they did it this week as well with Shotzi. Shotzi was supposed to be in the ring, and the ref runs back and goes in the ring.
When she was late. Yes, when she was late,
right in front of the camera. And it's like, oh. God.
And Charlotte's like, and she
jumps back.
Oh, yeah.
It's so bad.
No, see, Charlotte had to cover for her there. Charlotte did good. Not having anyone slating Charlotte. She's a great wrestler.
Okay, I mean, she can take a bump. I'll give Charlotte. She can take a bump.
So can Mick Foley.
But he's a stuntman, isn't he? Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania getting folded by Rhea Ripley with that German and just flops her on her like she folds. It's bridge of the nose, everything.
Was that a good match?
That was a great match.
Because Charlotte's in it.
No, it's not because Charlotte's. It's great because of Rhea Ripley.
What about Charlotte versus Sasha Banks?
Sasha Banks is in it.
All that match. She's wank.
Sasha Banks.
Danny's back me up here, mate. Sasha's not good.
I'm not much for Sasha. With a long face and his crying.
She's just Snoop Dogg with tits.
I think Shotzi needs a push. I'm liking Shotzi at the moment.
No, she doesn't.
Shotzi needs a push. At the moment, I think they're pairing Shotzi and Flair up together, and it's working quite well. But this Friday just been, there was like she's trying to form friendships with Asuka, who again is in another title bout with Io Sky, and just give Io a run. Stop having all these fucking 10-time champs come back and be a threat to her. Charlotte, Io, and Bianca Belair. Not Charlotte and Io. Charlotte, Asuka, and Bianca Belair is just. I'm fed up of it. Just give.
But who else have they got on that roster? else have they got?
Shotzi. I know they won't have Bailey do it because they're in a group together, but that's like flopping apart as well. Shotzi could go for it. Definitely not Nia Jax.
No, she's game for Ripley.
Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, even though she's flopping as anything. I love Liv Morgan. I want Alexa Bliss to come back, but she's had a baby, so that's probably not going to be for a while. Who else? Who was Trish working with?
Becky Lynch.
Not Becky. I'm done with Becky.
Oh, Zoe Starks.
Zoe Starks.
Oh, Zoe Starks.
Becky Lynch has won the NXT Women's Championship. Don't know why.
No, I don't know why either.
And now this
I don't get that.
Now this apparently qualifies her as a Grand Slam champion.
Yeah, she's
So does that mean now Sheamus has got 3 belts to win? He's now got to go win the NXT Men's Championship, the North American Championship, and the Intercontinental Championship in order to become a Grand Slam champion.
No, because then HBK will book himself win them two as well, and them 3. He can't. He can't.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
No, I don't like it. I don't. It didn't make sense because Tiffany Stratton didn't really have a great run. She didn't get a chance to be fair. But
yeah, I don't like anybody from the main roster going down to NXT and winning their titles. I really don't.
Dom winning it. I'm kind of on board with because he's a little shithouse, and I'm down for.
Oh, that's amazing! Yeah, I'm talking about established. Like I don't mean Domin's established, but yeah, somebody who's like a multiple-time women's champion. Yeah.
I don't. The only thing I can think of is
I don't mind it the other way. Like when Rollins went to NXT and defended his belt against somebody off NXT. That's
different, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's different. That's taking, an established belt to a young new up and comer. When you're going down there as Becky Lynch and stomping out the new guys because you're Becky Lynch and NXT's so down that it needs a facelift, so you're sending the man. It's like. How is there any hope for up-and-coming wrestlers to establish themselves when you're sending the gods down to stomp on men? Like, what's the point?
And it also kind of suggests that, Becky Lynch has got nothing. Yeah, Becky Lynch hasn't got anything to do. So they're like, you've got nothing to do. We'll give you this to kind of keep you occupied till Mania season.
The only thing I can think of is that Nia and Becky have still got real heat. It's the only thing to keep them apart. And then they couldn't really push her onto SmackDown because of all the women that are already there. Where would she fit? She wouldn't fit anywhere. Because you can't just push her into Charlotte again. You can't really push her to Bianca. You can't push her to Shotzi because Shotzi's already feuding. Oscar is already feuding with Io. Io is feuding with every fucker. So you can't really do it. So the only thing I can think of is, did they do it that way? Did they do it for the heat? Like, we need to keep them separate. Let's thingy. But if Becky loses, what's she got to stick around for?
Also, as well, there's that element of overexposure. If I'm on every week and I end up in like meaningless placeholder feuds, you'll get to a point where you kind of like make me go away so that when I can come back, people go, yes, it's fresh again. I'm seeing you for a while. And I think that's purely what it is with Becky. They just need to get her out the firing line because she's been on everything for so long.
Yeah.
I don't get Becky.
No.
She's another hot take. I just don't get it.
I liked the runs when it was happening, when it was the Charlotte Ronda. I know, fuck Ronda Rousey. Oh, okay. So, just a little thing. We've been going for like 2 hours and 25 minutes now for a podcast episode. It's been like rattling on as much as we can. So, just for a little final thing, just before we finish up, if we go down the list of people who currently have titles, who takes it off them? And I just thought of one just then because I was thinking, who takes Rhea? Logistically, who takes Rhea Ripley's belt off of her? Shayna
Shayna
Baszler. Shayna fucking Baszler. Has to be Shayna Baszler. And she needs it, and I want her. I love Rhea Ripley to death. I want Shayna to have it. I want her to have it so bad.
Logical choice that is. Absolutely.
Shayna was one of those people in NXT when she first started. I thought she was garbage. I thought she was absolute crap. And then it was at the era when I was watching NXT really, 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 really religiously. And I watched it and I was like, she's all right, she's getting better. And then she had that belt and it made her. She was phenomenal champ. She was an ace and she was a monster. And then she just didn't do it. Vince didn't want to do it, and then it ruined her. And they'll try and build her back up, and I don't know. I don't know. Just build her up and get her win the belt. She needs it.
Her versus Rhea is gonna be a monster of a match. It's gonna be.
Well, wasn't Rhea the one take it off for NXT?
Possibly, yeah.
Because Bianca didn't.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was Rhea.
That's even better. Than there's already pre-established heat there. That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's your story.
Yeah, that's incredible. You took it off me in NXT when we were up and comers. We've been from the ground up together, like what she was doing with Ronda, where she was like, we were at MMA together and she was my teacher and all this kind of thing, and then I finally beat her in a very, very crap MMA rules match. To then come up to Rhea Ripley and be like, look, when you took the belt off me in NXT, we were both young and up and coming, and I was fresh and I was not knowing what I was doing, but trust me, I know what I'm doing now, and I'm coming for you. And that's just going to be two absolute behemoths going at each other, because Raquel is, as big as Shayna, but is nowhere near as champ worthy or as ferocious.
She was another one.
To beat Rhea.
NXT, she was crap.
I think she's crap.
But then
now.
she got the belt. She had some right good matches.
Really?
She had some really good matches in NXT. Yeah, go back to them black and gold days and have a look at them matches. Some of them matches she had for the belt. Yeah, she had some really good matches. Shayna had some phenomenal matches. And then you just don't see it.
Was it Shayna who had the ace matches with Kairi Sane?
Yeah.
Where's Kairi?
Really
Where
good,
is Kairi?
Yeah.
She got fired, but then they rehired her as an ambassador because she wanted to go back to Japan with her family.
Right.
And now there are talks. I believe she injured a neck or something as well. She was injured and wanted to go back home.
Right.
And she was an ambassador. But I don't know what's going on. I don't know if she's still signed or not.
Because
I don't know.
That could be quite a good return for Io.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Kairi's in Stars. Kairi's in New Japan. She was the champion.
Right.
Thingy beat her.
Okay.
Sasha Banks beat Kairi.
So
for the belt.
more than likely, we're going to see her on AEW than we'll see her in WWE.
If you go and watch it, you'll probably see it at that Dream Fest that's happening October the 1st.
Possibly.
Let me have a look.
So who takes the belt off Io? Who logistically takes the belt off Io in the women's division?
Bailey.
You think it's an implosion and Bailey takes it?
Yeah.
I'll agree with that. I think that faction needs to break, really. It's it
does.
It's not really doing anything at the minute since
it never caught fire. It never gained that much traction.
Yeah.
Dakota Kai has knackered a knee. She's coming back slowly. I just think it needs break
to end. Okay.
Yeah.
Gunther, who takes the IC? I want it to be Chad Gable. I'd love.
Gunther doesn't need anything more to do with that belt now.
No.
He's set. He's made. He's broke that record. He's established. Gable's an absolute machine. Just put it on Gable.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
Same. There's nothing further to that.
No.
Just give it Gable. It says time. He deserves it.
If Gunther loses it, it doesn't diminish anything for him losing it.
Yeah.
Like, he's done what he needs to do. If he gets beat, and if Gable beats him, he beats him legitimately with a story base behind it. Like, he's a short guy, Gable. He takes over a giant with his wrestling background, and seeing him German Gunther is one of like a spectacular thing to see. The way it's sold, yeah. Gable. Okay. Ray, we Santos, didn't we? We were talking about this.
Santos.
So yeah, Santos Escobar.
Yeah, I think
takes it.
RWO going
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. Santos Escobar to take.
Is
it
Rey
off of Rey.
Mysterio the stupidest person in wrestling as well for how many people he's
Yes.
trusted? He's got to be up
No.
there with Sting, Anti.
I was going
Sting.
to say no, Sting. Sting is
Yeah.
the worst one
Trusting
with Ric
people.
Flair. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that's one of the other like pillar things I was thinking about as well. Of like top. Well, what? Not even necessarily a hot take, but
top
what's
5 stupidest wrestlers.
no, not that, but like the best,
Eugene number 1.
the best betrayal in wrestling. Be up there would be one of them. Just the best betrayal.
Danich knows mine.
Okay. Well, don't tell hours. We need content. Like
No.
we've done 2.5
I know,
hours and we've got
I know.
like one episode. Okay. So Santos takes it off Ray. Where are we at now? World Heavyweight takes it off of Seth. I would.
What about the US?
Ray?
Oh shit!
Ray.
Yeah, I thought it was IC. For some
Ray
reason, I thought it was
Santos.
IC. Don't you? Yeah. Gunther's IC. Yeah, ignore me. Seth.
I would love Shinsuke to take it off him. I think.
I don't think he will.
No.
Nakamura now is like your old Big Show, where it's like we need somebody in a feud. No, I don't mean he's on the level, but you know, like how Big Show is just like somebody's won a belt than you, and we want them to look legitimate. Can they beat you like for 3 pay-per-views in a row? Yeah.
This
And I
heel
think
Nakamura we're getting though is this like Ronin type character we're
Oh,
getting.
the intro we had at Payback where they did like the anime thing where he talks about Seth and stuff. It's great. I love it. But I don't think they're ever gonna. If they wouldn't put the belt on him when he won the Rumble
AJ.
and he fought Styles, they're never gonna put the belt on him.
AJ.
Yeah.
No. When
Oh.
they fought with AJ.
Oh, I thought you said it.
When he had the AJ, when he had the AJ feud. If they're not gonna put the belt on him after that, then no way.
Okay.
No.
I think
would
you're
like
Priest,
looking at
probably.
Priest.
a Priest cash in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think Priest will own it, but I just want to know like who does he take it off of a beatdown Seth victory, or does he take it off of someone who's beaten Seth? Because I think he takes it straight off of Seth. Either that, or he has to. I was saying this before. I think before we went live, he should have taken it when Finn was fighting him. I felt like that was a good time for him. It would have imploded the Judgment Day, and it would have been a whole big thing, but it could have like sparked something quite beautiful in terms of storytelling if he had taken that opportunity away from Finn, and it would have been. But yeah, Priest. I don't think Priest goes for the WWE Championship, the Universal title. I don't think he goes for that. It's not in his lane. He hasn't built himself up enough to be that. With incomparable to like Roman Reigns anyway. I don't think he it's not going to be the heist of the century.
The only way that you could transition to that is if you were talking earlier about your Survivor Series. If it's Bloodline versus Judgment Day, because they keep saying Judgment Day, don't they? Well, like, we run WWE now, and you could have some faction warfare there, but heel versus heel stuff is traditionally like audiences don't care about it because they don't know taboo.
Also, they haven't got Jay. Well, they haven't got Jay, have they, for the Bloodline? There have to be a reason for him to go back and face with the Bloodline. It just wouldn't. Yeah.
No.
So we think Priest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, oh God, fucking Roman.
Cody.
Just Cody. I think it makes the most sense.
That's going to say Rocky.
I was going to say I think it's going to be Rock. I think that Denver thing this Friday on SmackDown was something that's going to lead to
setting
more.
up for WrestleMania 6 months away.
Testing the waters, aren't they?
Yeah, the whole night was weird. If you watch that episode of SmackDown, it's such a weird episode. You've got the Cena Rock meeting. It's almost like they're trying to get Rock in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
It was one of those SmackDowns where I watched it yesterday. It was one of those SmackDowns. Where it was just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
One of them. And then whatever sticks, we'll run with. Whatever doesn't stick, it didn't happen. I think that's what it kind of felt like. Now, it wasn't a bad SmackDown. I didn't think it was a bad SmackDown at all. Like, you had Rock and you had Cena. It was like anything where you got the two giants, you're always having a good time. But it was messy. It was a messy SmackDown.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, because The Rock gets to do what he wants, so it kind of affects the flow, because he just will do any segments he wants to, kind of thing.
Yeah. Also, watching it back, and it's like urine and then asshole on the other side, and it's just urine, and then having it to be bleeped was, infuriating to watch in itself. That was just really irritating, because you can't say asshole on TV, because God forbid, there's worse words you could say, but we can't have The Rock saying a-hole or asshole. But if they're setting up Dwayne, if we go down the storyline we discussed of it being like, the thing is as well, he's the head of the Bloodline on The Rock's show. He's the head of the Bloodline on SmackDown, which, is The Rock's creation. So that's even more kind of playing into Rock being bigger than him and better than him. He's won more, he's done more, he's Hollywood, he's richer, he's bigger, he's faster, he's stronger, and all this kind of jazz. He's the true tribal chief. He's going to do some comparisons being like, you're the tribal chief, I'm Maui. Like, just because he is. He's the voice. You know what I mean?
Fucking hell.
He'll go like
they
that.
They didn't have that.
If you're going to be just wanting to say, Roman, if you're the tribal chief, I just got to say, you're welcome. And that's what he'll do. And they'll get a huge fucking pop off of it. And he's just like, what can I say, Roman? You're welcome. And it's like, hey, go see Moana 2 in Disney on Disney Plus. That's what he'll do.
They did do that as well, though, with The Rock, didn't they? Now you're saying that, he did drop a lot that this is The Rock. I know he always traditionally said that about SmackDown, but the more you think about it, nothing's an accident. And are they putting that there in case they do feud, that they can pull it back to him saying, like, this is The Rock show? And Roman saying, well, hang on, I've been here all this time with the belt, and, you can't just come back one.
I've been here all this part-time with the belt.
Yeah.
It's like a manager it's like a manager when you work in customer service that's like, I'm here day in, day out. Oh, you fuck. You're here for an hour and then you leave. You're in the office all day. You're not on the front lines. You don't know what the life we're living. Don't even. Unbelievable. Okay, well, I think it's a good point for us to stop after 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I think it's a very, very good point. It's our first episode. It's going to be chunky. We've got a lot to talk about, and then
you've got some editing to do, my friend.
Nah, it's fine. What editing I've got to do?
Shitloads.
What am I editing?
You got to get rid of all that stuff where I said Bret Hart was rubbish.
Yeah, all that stuff. Danish didn't have a wrestler.
Yeah.
All Danish has got to say is no, not for me.
It's just my hot take is just redacted as it for all of us. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I just got to record the thing. Like it is what it is. It's rated what it is. I'll make sure the intro is at least a minute long so we don't get flagged monetizing for effing and jeffing and all that kind of jazz. It's fine. Like
Danich.
Yeah, our market isn't to be, not to say not PC, but we're not PG. We're this is Attitude Era. This is Ruthless Aggression. This is ECW. This is One Night Stand that happened twice. This is
Two-night stand.
The 2-night stand. This is December.
Once in a lifetime again.
Once in a lifetime too.
Once in a lifetime too.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for coming along, and for Aidan Danich for being here and having a chat and stuff. And we'll all be back again in a week's time to do more of this with more hot takes, more things to talk about, more news, more opinions, more calling Paul Heyman a lazy toad. But until then, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you all in the next one. That's right.
Bye.